Okay, I believe I'm recording now. It'd be a really bummer if this video thing did not record. But okay, it is running. All right, gang. Let's go ahead and rock and roll this thing. The ATM. Okay, I'm going to put everybody on mute. I might open it up for questions, but well, I'll tell you what. You guys know how to unmute too, right? So I'm going to mute everyone. If someone has a question, feel free. Okay, so I'm muting everybody. I think, what is the mute sign? The mute sign is, or the mute is *6. Is that it? *4, *6, whatever. But let's go ahead and get going. Where's my pen? Okay. All right, gang. So let me kind of start this training off with this. Being back in the field has been illuminating for me. As I mentioned before, I got a chance to dial the leads, get on a regular, just a regular schedule of getting out there in the field and doing everything on the ATM. And there was like some parts of the ATM I was kind of ignoring, and then some parts I was doing, and then I started realizing, man, I'm just not getting the results. I thought I was that good because I helped put the ATM together, which I did. But it was weird. All of a sudden, I started doing everything that we're teaching on the ATM, and all of a sudden, it's working. I'm closing. I'm doing everything that you guys are doing. And what's great is that the clients don't know who I am. It's kind of like undercover boss. Clients have no clue who I am. They don't know that I've been in the business a long time. They don't know my, success track record. They just know me as the mortgage protection specialist, giving them a call, family protection specialist, going over to their homes to take care of them. And they show me, they want to think about it. They do all this stuff to me like they do to you. And so what I started discovering is the stuff I used to teach using the process that the ATM depicts, which is really what I focused on when we put the ATM together. I told, actually Justin Tripp was the one that was kind of consolidating from different comments. There are certain slides I put in here to match my sales process, the sales process I've taught from day one. But since, I wasn't in the field, I just kind of let the system teach you. I let any university, all the different videos and stuff, teach you the ATM. And but getting back out in the field again, and after getting back out in the field, and then doing sales coaching with specific agents, and then just nailing them between the eyes with important stuff that they didn't know that's not covered in any of the training, because I got away from teaching the way that I do the ATM, my sales process. And the sales system is a process. Because here's the system. Our system is this. When you walk into someone's house, there's actually two systems at work. You decide which path to follow, which system, okay? So you, the agent, can take the client through our system, the ATM system, or you will follow the client's system. Okay? You didn't know there was a client system, gang? There's the ATM or the client system. What's the client system? The client system is to be nice to you. They're going to offer you water, coffee. They're going to be really nice to you. They may even fool you saying that, I'm so glad you're here. I really want to take care of my wife and kids. And you're going, woo, this is a done deal. This is a done deal. And then what you do is you get sucked in. It's like, well, he said he wants it. And then, well, here are the prices. So you lay out 3 different prices for him to pick for, or 6 different prices. You can do this, you do this, you do this. But this company, that I shop, so I'm showing you I'm doing the shopping. So here's Forrester's, and then here's Mutual of Omaha. You see, I want you to like me. I want you to respect, that I'm really smart and that I'm doing the shopping for you. So I'm going to show you these 6 options, and then you notice that I got you the lowest one. See how good, see how much you like me. I want you to like me so bad. Please like me, because if you like, I've heard that they told me that if you like me, You're going to buy. Oh man, you know what? I've got people who be dialing in at 11. They're not going to get this stuff. Oh well, that's okay. And then their client then tells you, wow, looks good, Alex. We really like you, man. We appreciate you coming over. You want some more coffee for the road? I can put you in a styrofoam cup because we want to think about it. And they just sucked you in to their system. It's called the client system of think about it. And you're going, but what happened? I thought you liked me. I gave you all these options. I showed you that I shopped for you, and I can make it look prettier if you want. I can go back and put it in a Word document and put like different shading, and then I'll highlight the one that I think is the best for you. I mean, I could do that if you want me to. No, Alex, that's okay. We just wanted to find out what the rates were. We'll call you. We have your number. We'll call you. And you walk away with nothing. You didn't take care of that family. And then the husband the next day dies in a head-on collision. And that part of that is your fault, right? Now, how many of you followed the client system in the home? Even some of you aren't with an ATM, but you thought, well, yeah, this is a lay down, and I'm going to follow the client system. And then they tell you, think about it, and you give them all your prices, and they stole the prices from you. Raise your hand in your own mind. Well, no one's seeing you, so raise your hand. How many people have done that? So when you go into someone's home, you follow their system or our system. Let me make a suggestion. Our system works way better. Okay, our system works way better. So, having said that, what is our system? Our system is this ATM. This is our system right here, the ATM. The 16-page flip chart that keeps you on track. But the problem is, most people don't know what they're trying to accomplish with it. And see, what I believe, if you know what each section, and did you know that there are sections? Each slide fits into a nice little process section, and you got to know what you need to accomplish in each section. When you know what you're trying to accomplish, then the words will flow out of you, not just kind of this memorization thing. Now, let me kind of correct one thing. Okay, in my opinion, I don't like you hiding behind your ATM. You know, some people teach that you put the ATM in front of you so you can read, when you flip it, you can read the notes on the other side. And so when you have the ATM like this, what happens? You read your notes and then you pop your head up. Hey, you know, this is a little bit about me. So you read your notes, you know, and then you pop your head up. And you guys get this? You get this part? You're like hiding behind your notes. What is in between me and you? The ATM. I don't put the ATM between me and the client. This is stupid. Because if you can read notes on the back of your ATM, that means this thing's in front of you. This is a barrier. It's like having a humongous centerpiece blocking you and your romantic love interest at dinner. Okay? Does this work or not? Okay? Now, how do you watch TV with your kids? You're watching a Disney movie with your kids. Do you watch your movie with your kids with you behind the TV and they're in front of the TV? No. You're sharing the information. So this is what I do. I put the client's there, and I'm using this to reference, and then I'm talking to the client. I'm using this as a reference. I'm talking to the client. I'm with them on the same side of this thing. Does that make sense? So whoever teaches that you got to read the notes from behind the thing obviously has not been in the field with this thing, because I've been in the field with this, and this doesn't work for me. Now, if it works for you, that's cool. All I'm saying is, the way I'm teaching it, because the way it's working for me, is that I'm sharing it with them. We're sharing the information. I'm with them, and then we're referencing this. Do you guys get me? You understand this? I mean, I wish I had some feedback on this conference call line, because I muted you all. So say amen where you are, and I'll just pretend I hear it. Okay, so just a little side note there. Okay, so all right, so what is the process? The process is a process. Each slide is within a process. So let me talk about it and lay it out here. But first, let me talk about the 5 elements of a righteous sale. All right, there are 5 elements of a righteous sale, meaning that your client buys for these 5 reasons. And if you never close a sale, if you don't close a sale, you can point back to one of these 5 reasons. Why does a client want to buy from you and keep their policy? Remember, this is a thing where they get to keep their policy. Number 1, they trust you. Number 1. Number 2, they believe you. Number 3, they need it. Number 4, they want it. And number 5, they can afford it. Okay? The 5 elements of a righteous sale, where a client takes care of their family and they keep the policy through the end of the term, is they trust you, they believe you, they need it, they want it, and they can afford it. If you look back to any of all those reasons, you did not take care of a client, or close a client, whatever you want to use, what terminology, all right, it's usually traced to these 5 things. Okay, now how do we incorporate the 5 elements of a righteous sale in the ATM? This is how we do it. We put it in what I call the submarine. Okay, and I'm going to run out of room here. But, so let me put these up here. Trust, and I'll give you guys a chance to write it down. Number 2, believe. Number 3, so you got to memorize this. Need. Number 4, want. Number 5, afford. All right, those are the elements of a righteous sale. So how do we lay this in the process? So let me explain the process for you. And I like to use the analogy of a submarine. Okay, and I'll explain the analogy of the submarine. Okay, a submarine kind of looks like this. We all live in the yellow submarine. Okay, so it does kind of look like yellow submarine. Okay. All right, let's put the little periscope. Okay, my dad was in the Navy, but he wasn't a submariner. Don't ever call him a submariner, because that's such a geeky way to refer to a submarine sailor. Okay, so the submarine is right here. Okay, this is why I use the submarine analogy. Because submarines are put in compartments, bulkheads, so that when you twist the door, the hatch, and lock it down, that means if you took a hit in that compartment, it doesn't flood the whole submarine for the submarine to go down. All right? And so the analogy is the same here. Each part of this process has to be complete before you go to the next part of the process, so that you can make sure that you do everything correctly as you march through the proper sales process in order to get this done. Get the client to trust you, believe you, and they need it, want it, and can afford it to take care of their families. Okay, so here's the process. The process starts with bond and rapport. Okay, so that B&R stands for bond and rapport. And I'm going to explain each process element in conjunction with the ATM. And then you have the pain process. Okay, so that's the next compartment is pain. All right? After the pain process, you have a thing called the upfront contract. UFC stands for upfront contract. All right? Ultimate Fighting Club. Okay, upfront contract. Once you got the upfront contract down, then you can take care of the fulfillment of the contract. Trust me, there's a reason why they're called these words. Okay, the fulfillment of the contract, and there's elements of the fulfillment. I'll I'll walk you down those. And then after you do the fulfillment, then there's the post-sale process, okay? And then finally, we got the recruit part of the process. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we added the sixth one based on the last slide. So again, bond rapport, pain, upfront contract, fulfillment, post-sale, and then the recruit. That's the submarine. In other words, you got to get your bond rapport down, and you got to feel, you're going to know over time, you're going to know when it's good. You're going to know when the bond rapport is good, where you're allowed to move into the next section called pain finding. Okay, then when the pain finding's done, then you can move to the section called the upfront contract. Okay, and when the upfront contract, where you know the client is going to take care of their families that night before you show them any prices, and then we move to the fulfillment of the contract. Okay, where you're going to show them the prices, they're going to pick one, you're going to write the app up, pick up a check, or get authorization for a bank draft. Then you're going to do the other ERS and the RX card and the annuity and the tax-free retirement sections. And then you're going to lock down the sale, doing the post-sale, locking it down. And then finally, you're going to do the recruiting part of the slides. That's it. That's the 5 elements. And the process flows from one end to the other. Okay, and the ATM flows exactly in this manner. This is why I advocated putting this together in the way that it's put together from Jump Street. And by the way, this current ATM is 4.1. So if you're using an older ATM, this won't apply. Okay, and if in the future we change this, chances are the process will still remain the same. Okay, so today I'm using 4.1 for this, but in the future some slides may change, but I promise you it'll still follow this process. Okay, gang? So let's jump in, let's define the process, let's define what bond and rapport is. All right? So let's talk about, well, first let me show you where these 5 elements of a righteous sale maps over to the submarine. All right? So bond and rapport, what you come out of bond and rapport is the trust part, where they trust you and they believe you. Okay? In other words, if you don't create bond and rapport properly, then you'll never have built trust and belief in them, and their belief in you, that you're telling them the truth and that you have their best interest at heart. All right? So that's where you develop your trust and you get them to believe you. The pain part is they need it. That's where you develop the need, that they need this. They're trying to solve a problem that's not just a logical money problem, it's an emotional problem. All right? And that's where you establish the need. The upfront contract is they actually want what they need, right? Those are 2 separate things, by the way. You know someone needs it, but then they don't want it. They don't want it today. And what we're trying to do is get them to want it today, because you establish the need strong enough. And then the upfront contract is designed to understand if they really want it today. All right? And that the fulfillment step, when you're showing them the prices, they pick an option. This is where they can afford it. Okay? And the post-sale process really nails all these down, because you know in the post-sale process, you rock the house. That everything is tied up, that there's a very small chance of buyer's remorse. Okay, like I'm saying, small chance. There still might be some in there, which we have a trap in the post-sale process in order to make sure that does not happen. All right? So this is where the 5 elements of a righteous sale fall into the Sandler submarine. Yeah, I stole it. I ripped this off. Okay. This is a Sandler sales system adapted toward our ATM and what we do. It's interesting how it really flows properly through all this. And I've got all the Sandler MP3s that back up each of these phases. Okay. So that's it for the overview of the Sandler submarine, for our submarine, for my submarine. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and map what slides match the bond and rapport. Okay, so when you're creating bond and rapport, it's really this first slide here explaining the alliance. It's the second slide explaining about me. It's this third slide showing pictures. Okay, and it's the 4th slides, 4, 5, 6, that explain the companies. Okay, These, it's before this about you, the financial picture. So these upfront slides are there for bond and rapport. Now, bond and rapport is based on the concept that people like people that are like them. Okay, have you ever met someone at a party and it's like, man, I seem like I know this person all my life. Now, remember back to that relationship. Why do you like those people? Why do you hit this thing with them? Well, the chances are they are very similar to you. They might even look like you, talk like you. They definitely have maybe very similar background. You share a lot of the same, either cultural, religious, it could be family background. There's something there's just something about them that you like, and typically you're looking maybe in the mirror, right? And that's the key to bond and rapport, is that people like people that are like them, all right? So if you're a different race, different religion, different gender, how do you create bond and rapport with someone who's totally different than you? Aha! That is the key, man. Baby, that is the key. So I'm going to give you a little bit of things based on bond and rapport. You know, number one, you only have 30 seconds to make a good impression. So under the guise of making a good impression, and here's one thing that I notice about since I've been out in the field, okay, I used to wear, sometimes it goes in and out. At functions, I grow a little bit of a goatee, some facial hair, all right? Now, I know beards are popular today. Beards are like the main fashion. But here's the thing. I wanted to be rich. I didn't want to be fashionable. I'd rather be rich than fashionable. Okay, I'd rather be wealthy, really, which is a different definition for me. But I'd rather have money and be able to make sales based on being neutral to the person. See, because no facial hair is neutral. Having facial hair, now you're asking the client if they like facial hair or not. Okay, but most clients aren't looking at you if you're clean shaven. Wow, that guy would look way better with a goatee. Okay, your objective is to be neutral in the home. Don't do anything that may create something about you that they don't like, right? And so this extends to my glasses. Now I know my glasses look like sniper glasses. These are unusual, you know. Tony Stark, Iron Man, wears kind of glasses like these, okay? And you know, people associate, you know, aggressiveness and arrogance with that guy. So I don't wear these glasses when I go in the home because I'm not dumb. I'm clean shaven, and I wear my geeky insurance family protection specialist glasses. See that? Instantly, I go from unrelatable to most people to relatable. I look like maybe their science teacher, okay, at school, or maybe their doctor, actually. There's a lot of Filipino doctors out there. You see how that kind of changes the vibe, my vibe? All right. The other thing I noticed is that I used to wear like cargo pants in the home, like cargo my Boy Scout pants, den leader pants, because I just love those. I love wearing those. I got 2 pairs of them, and I love cargo pants. But I don't know, man. I didn't feel like I was taking care of clients in the home. My closing ratio wasn't, it was good, but it wasn't great. And I don't know if it made a difference, but maybe it made a difference more for me and my attitude. But I started wearing slacks, like khaki slacks, khakis. It could be twill, it could be, you know, wool, whatever. But I wore khaki pants instead, and I found that my closing ratios went up. It was really weird. And I don't know if it was just for me. And then I'd wear a button down or an NA shirt, golf shirt, whatever, you know, kind of like what the weather will dictate. And it didn't seem like so much a shirt, but my khaki pants made a difference. It was weird. So the glasses, clean shaven, khaki pants. In other words, what I'm saying, gang, is you got to be as neutral as possible so the client doesn't have to make a decision whether they like you based on whether you got facial hair. Okay, now, I don't know. You guys do what you want to do. I'm not telling you to shave your beard off or your goatee off. I'm just saying, why not stack the deck in your favor? You know, it goes for you ladies. You might want to do that no-no thing, whatever, to get rid of the facial hair. Oh yeah, men, nose hairs, okay? Well, like I said, this is going to be real. Trim your nose hairs. You have no idea. People will be staring at your nose hairs and thinking how gross that is. When you Leave the house, look in the mirror, and see if you got a nose hair hanging out. Then take your tweezers and yank that sucker out of there. You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh, nothing more gross than a freaking nose hair hanging out, guys. You know, and I don't know if it applies to women. I actually don't know that I've seen a woman with a nose hair hanging out, but if you do, okay, hygiene. Like if your breath is bad, if someone offers you a mint, assume that your breath is bad. Okay, nothing worse than a salesman that has halitosis. And what's even worse than that is a salesman who has halitosis that doesn't know it. Okay, so if you got someone around you that's in our business that has bad breath, you better do the right thing and tell him he does. And the thing that I do to combat it, I'm freaky about it. I assume that I do. So I use Smart Mouth. There's the Smart Mouth system in the drugstore. There's two little pumps, and you pump in the green and the clear, and then you just mix in like a couple ounces of that, and you gargle it, and it's good for 12 hours. I don't care if you have onions. I don't care what's wrong with your breath. It totally wipes your taste buds out, by the way. Kind of burns your taste buds out, but it is effective. It'll keep your breath fresh no matter what you're eating for 12 hours. And so I gargle that stuff day and night. You wake up without morning breath. I promise you, it stuff rocks. And so why assume that you have good breath when you might have bad breath? And I tell you, when you blow into your hand, that doesn't work. For me, it never worked because I don't smell it. You don't smell your own bad breath for some reason. I don't know. Why do I harp on this? Because you've got to tip the cards in your favor. This is your chance to cheat fairly. This is your chance to deflate your football, all right, by 2 pounds, okay? This is your chance. I'm giving you all the ways to cheat so that the bottom report is in your favor. Got it? All right? Guys, man, I know you guys got smelly feet. For some reason, women don't have smelly feet. So one time I took my shoes off at home, and my kids said, "Daddy, your feet, oh my God." And I don't typically, so I got freaky about, I'm freaky about that hygiene stuff. I'm a little bit obsessive compulsive about it. So I take the Ace body spray and I spray my socks before I put them in my shoes, okay? Because I take my shoes off in the home, right? And so I spray my socks so at least it'll smell like Axe, okay? I mean, I'm serious. I'm freaky about odors. Don't have body odor in there, gang. Take a shower for once, right? And then just slather body juice all over you. I do double, man. I do underarm stuff, and then I spray Axe all over me. I'm a walking Axe commercial because I'd rather smell good than bad. Okay, I guess I'm very fastidious when it comes to that stuff. But look, I am closing sales. I'm making sales at home, gang. That's why I know it's easier today than it was back in the day. All right? I'm spending time on this because don't lose with the things that you can control. And personal hygiene is something you can control. All right? It's something you can control. Absolutely. All right. So I think I got all of that. The dress thing. Okay. You go up to the home, right? I always like to knock on the door, ring the doorbell, and knock on the door. Then I step back from the door, okay? I'm not like right in front of the door like a puppy dog. I step back. There's this thing about stepping back from the door. It's non-threatening. It's almost like, and if there's a step down, I step down. I'm a step down if I can be. Not too far away, but far enough. I don't want to make it seem like I'm being threatening, and I learned this from actually door-to-door guy. It was really cool. I asked him about it, and he said, yeah, we were taught to step away from the door because it was less threatening. Okay, so it's pretty cool. They should be expecting you anyway. All right? Now, anytime I see foot wiper things, what do you call those? Those door things where those mats, foot mats. Anytime I see a foot mat, I make sure that the client sees me wiping my feet. Okay, it's there for a reason. It's an act of respect. It's telling the client, I respect your house. I'm wiping my feet. I don't care if I wipe it on the outside. There's another one on the inside in the foyer. I wipe my feet there too. Okay, very meticulous. There's a reason why I do everything, and it's a psychological thing. I want to build bond rapport. I only have 30 seconds to make a great impression. I want to show them I respect their home. Okay? Now, I always take my shoes off. Always. Again, it's a sign of respect. And if I see shoes, some cultures, you'll see their shoes out on the doorstep, out on the porch. Guess what Alex does? I get the clue. If the family takes their shoes out of the porch and steps in the home barefoot, or stocking feet, then guess what? Alex does it too. I don't step on another culture's norms, another family's norms. If everyone does it, I do it too. Okay? If they don't have the shoes out in the porch, then I know I can at least step in the house, wipe my feet there, and then take my shoes off, kick them off, and put them aside. Or they say, no, don't do that. You don't have to do that. I go, you know what? I'm sorry. I don't feel like I want to mess your house up. I just laugh about it and I just take it off and I continue on because I know my feet smell good. Maybe I want them to smell a good whiff of that Axe stuff. All right. So I take control. I'm in the house and so they're treating me like a guest automatically. I can tell, I can feel it, because I've acted like a guest. If you act like a guest, I'm going to treat you like one. So I don't act like a jerk, but I, wipe my feet, I do all that stuff. And if the TV's on, okay, I tell them, hey, tell Mary, is it okay if we can shut the TV off just for a short time because it'll make my appointment way shorter? Because I have a tendency to get distracted and I might start watching TV. I don't know about you, but sometimes I get distracted easily. And so to keep me on track, so this appointment's short, because I'm sure you want it shorter, not longer, right? I say, oh yeah. Well, can we just shut it off temporarily? I take control. I shut the thing down. If they got dogs that are yipping and they're like trying to smell your crotch and it's just like really, I love dogs, by the way. I always play with the dogs. Dogs have to sniff you. So I let the client know I know about dogs by saying, okay, sniff me, buddy. Sniff me. Hey, how am I doing so far? And then I like pet their dogs. That's because I love them. I love dogs, and Ginny won't have a dog in the house. So like I'm petting the dogs. I'm going, oh man, what breed is this dog? And they tell me they're proud of their dogs. They love their pets. So it's like, shunning their children. If you like kick the dog off, it's just like kicking their kids, right? And they'll be polite. They say, oh, I'm sorry. I don't, hey, stop jumping on something. I go, hey, that's okay. That's okay. I love dogs. And I'm like petting a dog. There's something endearing when you show respect and you love on their dog. All of a sudden they think, wow, this is a cool guy. He loves dogs too. He loves my dogs too. Again, it's a psychological thing. You want to be accepted in that home. Look, the clock is ticking from when you shake their hands. They'll look at you, see that you're clean shaven. You don't look pretty, any controversy. You don't have any earrings on. You don't got a nose ring. You don't got any weird stuff to make you like controversial where they have to make a decision. I don't want them to make any other decision other than I'm a good guy here to take care of them, right? I want them to like me. Okay, that part about like, that's a real thing. I want them to like me first. And loving on their dogs or cat. I have a cat, so I can relate to a cat. Man, that's everything to an owner. It's a subliminal thing, okay, but it's powerful. Does that make sense? More powerful than looking up and saying, oh, you must love Dale Earnhardt, as you look at his black velvet painting of Dale Earnhardt that they got in Las Vegas like last week when they were in Vegas. Okay? It's more effective when you're just playing with your dogs, and then shutting the TV off and it goes, your kitchen table over here, and I go right to the kitchen table because that's where business is transacted, at the kitchen table or dining room table. I go right away. But they say, well, here, why don't we sit here? And it's their couch. I go, man, I've got to set some stuff up. And, in order to make this real short and sweet, I need to get a table. Is that okay? Is there some surface that I can set my stuff up on? Okay. Take control. Monitoring pour, again, you've got only 30 seconds to make a good impression. Make that impression count. All right. The other thing that I do is I establish first names. Okay, so I make sure that I know their first name and that I know it going in, and I say, Jerry, hey, Joe, Mary, hey, Mary, and then even before they introduce, I can tell maybe it's a spouse. This must be Mary. Hi, Mary. I'm Alex. I go out and so I use their first names all the time because music to someone's ears is their name, their first name. It's music to their ears. When you start using first names, Karen, Tracy, Cord, Bill. You start using first names, Valerie. Right, Valerie? Right, Ellery? When you start using your name, it just sounds, it's music to your ears, their ears, right? When somebody uses your name, it's music to your ears. So use their first names often. And find out the first names of their children, especially the beneficiary, right? If it's an older person. So who's the loved one you're trying to take care of this program? Jennifer? All right, man. We're going to make sure Jennifer is going to be taken care of. When you use Jennifer, they love Jennifer. So I always use Jennifer's name all the time because she's the loved one. It's not a whole cold, hard death benefit paid to her daughter. It's the love that she has for her daughter embodied within this $25,000 benefit to go to Jennifer. So Jennifer can take care of her mom's situation. You got to personalize it, make it real. First names are everything. So use the first names. Okay, it's another element of bond rapport. Okay, so some more technical elements of the bond and rapport is, and this is where we get into the real hardcore sales stuff. Number one is this concept of mirror and matching. So now I'm getting to my NLP training. Okay, this is all neuro-linguistic programming, whether some people know it or not. Mirror matching, you probably heard it. You can look it up on YouTube, mirror matching sales or mirror matching NLP. What mirror matching is, remember, people like people who are like them. Okay, people like people who are like them. And so how do you become more like them? Even though you're a different gender, different race, okay, different person, one way to create rapport with someone is to mimic their body language. Okay, mimic their body language. In other words, when you put on their body language, what happens, and it's a kind of a neurological thing, which is kind of cool, you start feeling, they start transmitting stuff to you. Okay, I'm going to check my text too, so if there's something like questions, or you can unmute as well. It's so funny. Some of your comments just crack me up. Anyway, what was I saying? Okay, so mirror matching. People like people who are like them. So the mirror matching thing is when you mirror and match their body language. So it isn't just simply body language all the time. So if you have a woman who's got her legs crossed and her arms folded, your natural conclusion from reading her body language is she's not open to what it is you're offering or what you're saying. She's closed. Well, what if she's cold? Okay, what if she's freezing? And it may not be freezing to you, but she's freezing. So you don't know which way it is, right? How you know is when you take on her stance or her same body language, you mirror her language, her body language, you'll know, you'll feel whether the tension is closed off from you or you'll feel that she's still open to you. There's this feeling that you get. I don't want to go into the psychology of it, but I promise you it works. Okay? So, for example, if the husband has his hands crossed on the table, when I'm talking to the husband, I say, so Joe, tell me, what was in your mind when you sent this form in? You see this form? And then I adopt this position the same way as his. And I promise you, people think more about themselves than anybody else. Like right now, you're thinking about yourself. Okay? I promise you. You know, you're thinking about yourself. You're not aware of things around you, unless you're bored. Okay, so I'll give you that. But people are thinking about themselves. They'll never catch on that you are matching their body language. It's just the way people are. They don't catch on to it because they're not thinking about you. They're thinking about them. But by you matching them, you start feeling what they're feeling, and you create a strong rapport with them. Okay, now if the wife is sitting, you know, she's kind of sitting like this. So when I'm turning and talking to her, so I go, so Mary, tell me, what were you thinking? You know, you actually signed the form. I'm kind of curious. Looks like the different handwriting for all the vitals, but then you signed it. Why'd you sign it? Okay, and she will never know that but I want to create rapport with both of them. All right, and it's important. It's a simple thing. I'm teaching you simple things. I could do a 2-hour NLP bond and rapport seminar on all the other things that you can do, because it's very deep what you can do. I do it even without thinking about it. But I'm just going to give you a basic that you can do like today on your next appointment. Okay, and that's creating this rapport. And I do that with my children, you know, and sometimes you got to practice with people that you care about. You got to practice this, like your spouse. Do it with your spouse when you're talking to her or him. All right, mirror, and you'll understand what I'm saying. It's really cool. The most important thing is you'll feel the sales tension. You'll feel that they're with you or not with you. That feeling comes from inside. It's like a weird thing. You'll start feeling it. It'll be in your gut because you're kind of on the same wavelength with them. It's kind of a cool thing, right? So that's the mirror and matching part. All right. Now, another thing is the mirror matching of body language. The second one is mirror matching tonality of voice. And this really comes into play when you're booking an appointment. All right. So when you're booking an appointment, okay, if someone speaks really fast, like just think back to when you're on the phone and someone just talks really fast. And it's hard to listen to them and catch up with them because they're talking really fast and they're describing things really fast to you, and you know it's just going by really quick and it's driving you crazy. Okay, typically that's an indication of someone who takes information in visually. They're doing the pictures in their head and they're trying to catch up with their mouth because it's their visualization happens quicker than the communication verbally. All right, they typically are visual people, but the problem with people that speak fast is that everyone speaks slow. And so it drives them crazy. You know, if you think you speak fast, you know, people that speak slow probably drive you crazy. I mean, think about you got somebody kind of talks like this. They kind of measure their words. There are a lot of pauses. They're thinking about stuff. And they talk real slow. Now I promise you, if your natural tendency for something like that is you will want to try to speed them up by speaking faster than you normally do. Because it's driving you crazy. All these different holes in their sentences, you're trying to, mentally, it's like you got to speed it up. Gang, that's the worst thing you can do to someone who speaks real slow. So when I get someone on the phone that talks real slow, I mirror their and match their rate of speech. Hey Joe, yeah, this is Alex, Mortgage Protection Department. Yeah, we received that letter that you sent in, and I needed to verify the information on this letter. Now it took everything in my power to talk that slow. And when you feel like that with someone who talks slow, then you're probably getting close, okay, to their rate. And I promise you it works. Now, the default I go when I make my phone call is I go low and slow anyway. I just want to start there, but then if they speak faster, then I'll speed up with them. But I always start low and slow, okay, because I want them to understand what I'm saying, and I want to hear them. I want them to hear me articulating every word so they don't miss anything. And then when someone says, hey, what did you say again? Then you know you're probably speaking fast, you're not articulating enough. All right? They'll give the clues. Okay, the other part of rate of the vocal mirror matching is the tonality, which is high or low. You know, if they got a high voice and they kind of talk like Michael Jackson, they talk like Michael Jackson, and then my voice would go up. So, hey Joe, how you doing? This is Alex, Mortgage Protection Department. And I'll try to go up there. I won't go like where it's really weird. Like if you're talking to a woman, like and her voice is high, don't try to like be weird about it. But here's what I promise you is that you kind of get higher than what you normally do. So she might be up here. Well, you shouldn't be down here. You know, I mean, it's just like night and day. So if you don't match their rate and tonality, but here's the beautiful thing about matching their tonality is that you're showing them that you care psychologically, subconsciously on a level that you're trying to relate to them. See, this whole idea of you being interested in how they're saying what they're saying and what they're saying and the rate of speech of how they're saying it, automatically you go into servant mode. You want to relate to them. You have this genuine spirit of wanting to connect with someone. And that'll know that genuineness of spirit counts for a whole lot when it comes to rapport. All right. So assuming you got the 30-second thing done with your appearance and your smile and your handshake, then the rest of it is this stuff that's important. All right. The other thing I try to do is I try to get them to laugh. So I use their first name, take my shoes off, get them to laugh. I try to be funny, you know, try to lighten the mood. I tell you what, man, my closing rate goes up to over 90% when I can get them joking with me. Okay. Now, if you're not naturally someone who's got any sense of humor, if you got like no sense of humor, then don't try to force it. But the thing is to be comfortable, you know, kind of like you've known them for a long time. Act like you've known them for a long time. All right. By the way, these are all skills that you're going to have to start practicing. You have to be aware of this stuff in order to do it, right? Awareness is everything, okay? Plus, let me tell you, bond and rapport is probably the number one reason why agents don't take care of clients in the home is because they didn't establish a bond and rapport enough. Okay, so that's why I spend time here. If you got to spend time with bond and rapport, then this is where you spend the time. But it's not false bond and rapport. The bond and rapport I'm talking about is the kind that you feel, and you will feel it with them right away because you feel like they've accepted you. And I can't exactly define that, but you'll feel it. And think about all the times where you've been accepted by a group. All those times where you felt like part of a team. How did that make you feel? Okay, that's the feeling you'll get by being accepted by part of their team, their family team, as a trusted advisor. It's a feel thing. I wish I could explain it to you, but you get better and better at it, and you'll know what I'm talking about. I promise you, you'll know what I'm talking about. But you got to get out there and do it. Okay, so assume right now that all these skills are something you're going to have to develop, are something that you'll have to develop over time, but you can do it. You can do it quickly. All right. So the bond rapport, I pull this out. Okay. While I'm asking questions about them, and then I start with my ATM. The bond. Okay. So this is the first part of the bond rapport. So Joe and Mary, and I just explained this. You know, I'm with them, I'm like looking at them. So Joe and Mary, the Alliance, basically what we are is a group of agents and agencies that really care about taking care of clients in the event of tragedy. We take care of clients with mortgage protection, final expense, all kinds of different life insurance products, as well as retirement protection with annuities. So I can just lay it out real short and sweet. And some of you guys might start developing some fancy things to say here. I'm being very basic, okay? I don't want to be too fancy because I don't want to spend too much time on this slide. But I'm trying to define the Alliance. And, you know, if you have an Alliance golf shirt, that's kind of cool too. So it all matches. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about me. And then I go into the About Me slide. Okay, I tell them I was born on a U.S. naval base in Morocco. Okay, my dad was in the Navy. I was born in Morocco, so that makes me African American. And I laugh with them, and they laugh with me typically. Okay, and I grew up in a lot of states because my dad traveled all over the United States. And I've lived in some awesome parts of the country. And then I stop right there and I say, did you guys grow up around here? And I ask them about them. See, the About Me slide is not about me, it's about them. So I want to build bridges. Okay, it's building bridges. Remember, pretend you're at a party and you met your soon-to-be spouse. Think about the time you met your spouse for the first time. Okay, when you were developing your relationship, you were disclosing things about you, and they were disclosing things about them. It's almost like, yeah, I grew up in a family of three sisters, family of four. Well, 4, 5, 6, 6. I had 3 younger sisters, and I was the oldest. And then Ginny, oh really? Well, I grew up, you know, I have 5 other brothers, and I'm the youngest. And by the way, kind of relationship, just a little note. A lot of times the oldest and the youngest get together, more often than not. Anyway, and then middle children usually get together. But that's sort of there's actually a relationship thing based on firstborn, lastborn, birth order that actually speaks to relationship building. If you find out someone's the last born than me as a firstborn. I get the vibe because it was with Ginny. Ginny's I guess anyway. I'm sidetracking here, but so I asked them about them. Again, it's like a relationship. You are building a relationship. A relationship is about disclosing and get them to disclose something about them. You're building bridges with them, right? So that's why that's in there. Now, I got my degree at the United States Air Force Academy. I worked in the defense industry for a while. So Joe, do you work around, what do you do for work? I just kind of talk about what they do for work. I met my wife doing theater, community theater. We got married in 1991. How did you guys meet? I'll tell them too. We did the musical Grease, where I was Danny Zuko and she was Rizzo. And we kind of had this three-way thing where Sandy really liked me, and I liked her, but I liked Ginny more, and she played the part of Rizzo, and then we ended up getting together after that. It was pretty funny. How did you guys meet? So it gives you a chance to find out how they met. And that is a mega, mega question, because this is a chance to laugh about how they met. And I'll ask them a little more questions about that. See, because here's what I want to do. By asking that question, I want to put them back into that when they were falling in love, when they cared about each other in a very romantic way. Today they might be roommates trying to find some time with each other they can never find. We're talking about life insurance for their family. I want them to remember when they were romantically going after each other. Okay? I want to because they could have been fighting before I showed up. But when I start talking about how they met each other, so how did he propose to you, Mary? Oh my gosh, it takes them back. I want them to get those feelings back to when they were pursuing each other, when they fell in love, all right? That can only be a good thing. Know what I'm saying? And that's what I do here. And this thing, how I met my wife, that allows you to ask them that. And I talk about all this stuff. Now, by the way, all this time I have my badge, my lanyard. See that? This is my insurance license on a lanyard. This is my John Maxwell lanyard. You can use a lanyard you got at the function. And I have this around my neck. There's something geeky about it that I love, that this is around my neck. I just open my jacket, put my jacket on back of the, and I have this. I don't even refer to it much, really, because I know my license is in there. But I have this around my neck because it makes me look like I'm the man. I'm the doctor to help him. It's like when you go to the doctor, he's probably got a badge somewhere saying that he's the doctor. Well, I'm the doctor too because I've got my badge. This works magic. I'm telling you what, man, especially on client reviews, but this works magic. I love this. I learned this from one of my agents who came to my office to get, to get some tips and stuff. And he had this on. I go, I love this. So I've got this on. So I tell about my time, I got my license in 2000 because I love helping families take care of their families prior to any tragedies. In other words, Joe and Mary, I help widows and orphans before they become widows and orphans. Does that make sense? And I say it with every genuineness in my body because I believe it. And that's why I love this business, because I'm able to help people before tragedy strikes. Okay? Help them make the right decisions. And this is where you can throw in stuff like, by the way, have you had anyone close to you pass away? They said, well, yeah, my mother died 2 weeks ago. Oh, man, I'm so sorry to hear that. Out of curiosity, did she have any life insurance to help with her burial? Oh, yeah, she had it. Well, so you can see how this works. Oh, yeah. Or they say, no, she didn't. Well, how'd you pay for the funeral? Well, we had to kind of pass the hat from all the siblings. Oh, man, that must not have been fun. Oh, no. See? However, the answer to that question is a positive for you. You start planting those seeds. The next thing I tell them is, I'm compassionate. Now, Joe and Mary, let me explain what compassion means. It means that I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you the honest truth based on my background and experience on what is going to work for you. And being compassionate is being willing to tell the truth. So I'm not here, I wish you would like me, but I'd rather you respect me for telling you the truth about, maybe you're making the right decision or maybe you're not making the right decision based on my experience. Okay, but I want, so would you like me to tell you the truth, the brutal truth, or would you like me to sugarcoat everything? where it's kind of fuzzy what you ought to do. And usually they're going to tell me, no, I'd like you to be honest. Okay? Basically what you're getting permission is you're getting permission to say down the road, if you have to say this statement, you got to learn how to say the statement right, is, you know, they come up with a think about it, which is should not, based on this process that I'm going to teach you. But if for some reason they come up with some crazy reason not to take care of their family tonight, you have to be able to say this, Joe and Mary, how can I tell you're making a big mistake without you getting mad at me? You got to be able to say that with conviction. And the only way you really can say that properly is you get the permission here. You get the permission by telling them, and I'm compassionate. And here's what compassion means. Compassion means I'm willing to tell you the truth. I'll give you my honest advice instead of sugarcoating it. And sometimes the truth hurts. Is that okay? And they'll say yes every time. I never had anyone ever say no to that. So that gives me permission to say, Joe and Mary, how can I tell you you're making a big mistake without you getting mad at me? See, that is a precursor to that if you have to pull it out and use it. All right, does that make sense? So I'm telling them I'm compassionate. And by the way, this only takes about a minute to go through this or two, depending on the conversation. Remember, in the bon rapport, if you spend a lot of time in bon rapport, that's a good thing. And you don't have to look, if you got the rapport, then you can move on. But if you don't feel like you got it, then spend more time in it. Like I said, you're not allowed to move forward if you don't have the bon rapport down. Okay, when you have the bon rapport down, it's a feel thing. You know it's okay to go on. And then you can close the compartment, spin the hatch, and shut that door. You got the bon rapport. It allows you to do all the rest of the process. But if you don't got it down, then man, it'll blow up. And you know exactly. As I'm talking to you right now, you can think of all those appointments that blew up in your face because you didn't get the bon rapport down because they didn't trust you, which caused them not to believe you, what you're saying, that you're in there for their best interest. All right. So again, levity. I'm trying to be funny. I'm trying to get this to be, I want them to feel good about what we're doing here. So my transition statement to go to the next slide is, by the way, Joe and Mary, portion of my commissions goes to feed hungry children. I flipped the chart. These are my 5 kids. These are my 5 kids. And I say, that's Isabel, that's Nicholas, Athen, he's 17, she's 11, 13, 17, Zoe is 19, she's a freshman in college, and Maddie is 15 and a half. And then that's my lovely wife, Jeannie. And they're laughing. They're laughing. And I'm laughing too. Wow, those are nice kids and stuff. And then that allows me to ask them about their children. So you guys have kids, right? I've seen pictures. I've seen pictures, and they tell me about their children. I love getting them to talk about their children, right? And this is where you really start getting the good juju going on, when you start talking about family stuff, right? And then there's a copy of my license. You see that I'm been deputized to be able to take care of you. But I take this license very serious, and you can look me up on the State of Ohio Department of Insurance website and see that I'm official. And I've got a badge to prove it. I'm not joking around with it, man. I'm trying to keep it light, man. Okay, so Joe and Mary, this is a credibility slide. Again, the rapport building is also building credibility, so you can get them to trust you and believe you by showing all the companies we're affiliated with. So Joe and Mary, these are some of the companies we're affiliated with. Have you ever heard of Mutual of Omaha? Okay, that was founded in 1909. They've been around since 1909. They do about $15 billion in assets. They have $15 billion in assets. Have you heard of Mutual of Omaha? They'll say, yeah, I grew up with Wall Kingdom. Absolutely, me too. Ever see that building, the Transamerica building, that pyramid building in San Francisco? Well, this is this company, Monumental. They're a subsidiary of Transamerica. $31 billion in assets. Other companies, Foresters, Columbia Financial Group, Baltimore Life, and you can see we do a lot. We work with a lot of companies, and the reason why we work with a lot of companies, Joe and Mary, is because it's important for you to know that we have many tools in our toolkit. So we're not like the State Farm guy. They can only sell you State Farm insurance, or Allstate guy who can only sell you Allstate, or Northwestern Mutual, or they're all very limited in what they can offer you. But we can offer you a variety of companies, right? Like, for example, if you wanted to plan a trip, wouldn't it be better to go to a travel agent who represents um, all the different airlines versus just going to United and just sitting with the United clerk, right? You want to know if there are discounts and deals. Well, that's why we broker for so many companies, because to give you the best bang for your buck, to make sure that we got you in the right product for you that you can afford. Does that make sense? Okay, so you're establishing the trust and belief and credibility right here, and those are the slides that do the bottom rapport process, like my Canadian friends. All right. Now you get to your financial picture slide. Okay. So the financial picture, does anyone have any questions on that? You can text me. Any questions? Questions? Let me see. All right, no text. And you can hit star whatever. I think it's star 4 star, or 6 star, one of the two. I think it's 4 star. Anyway. Okay, so let's go on to the pain slide. And the pain process, the pain compartment, starts with finding out about their financial picture. In previous versions of the ATM, this slide was done later, but it was pulled to the front primarily so that you didn't get blindsided by a condition that the client couldn't qualify for with the product you were thinking could fit for them. And so this allowed you to kind of know it up front so that you can jump in to the right proposal for the client, all right? Which is pretty cool. This is still, now this is the pain. This is where you're trying to drill for why they want this product or why they want to take care of their families, but it starts off kind of technically, you know, with finding out about them. So this is the way I do it, okay? What I do is I turn the lead over, and I do kind of a financial picture by taking a snapshot with Joe and with Mary, okay? And I just really kind of lay out their lives right here, their financial lives in essence, on the back of a lead, on the back of their lead. Okay, so I look, and if it's a mortgage protection lead, I look at, you know, how much mortgage we're covering. So let's say, and I'll put it up here, $125,000 is your mortgage, right, Joe? And by the way, Joe and Mary, what is your mortgage payment? Like your total principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, PITI. What's your PITI payment? They're going to tell me it's about $1,000, it's like $997. Okay, let's just round it to $1,000 a month. That's your mortgage payment. Okay, so as far as income is concerned in the home, in round numbers, I always say round numbers. In round, this is the first test of your bond and rapport, because I've had agents tell me, well, sometimes when I ask for income here, they're real guarded. They might even say, well, why do you need to know that? That's your first clue that you didn't do bond and rapport right. Remember I said that part about you got to make sure this is right? You're not allowed to go in the pain process until you know that the bond and rapport is right. If they don't trust you, then man, it's going to blow up, man. I promise you, the whole sale will blow up. Okay? I don't know how you can recover bond and rapport at this point, but you know, you just have to explain, well, it's part of the application process. We need to know your income. Now, here's a softball way of asking that question. Joe, just round numbers. Just round numbers. Okay, use the terminology just in round numbers, ballpark it for me. What's your annual income? Okay, that's such a softball way of asking. They end up giving you exact. Well, I make $900 a week, or I make $1,200 a week. You know, it's like when you get to people that are weekly based minded, you know, maybe they're laborers or whatever, they'll talk weekly, and then I'll just multiply it by 52. Okay, well, let's say Joe, you know, he makes $60,000 a year, so I'll put 60 here, and then Mary makes 40,000, whatever she does. All right. So you know their household income's 100,000. Now, why is it important to know this? I want to know their income contributions to the home. Like obviously, because I made the numbers easy, Joe makes 60% of the income and Mary makes 40%. that's important down the road when I start putting proposals together for them to know their income ratio. Now here's where I plant a seed. I put little hooks. I plant little seeds that I could hook onto later. Okay, because I genuinely want to know. I don't want to assume anything. So Mary, when Joe dies, sometimes I'll like cross it out. But when Joe dies, does any of that 60,000 still remain? That still keeps coming to you? And she'll say no. Okay, I just want to make sure. And Mary, likewise for you, when you die, any of your 40,000 continue on to the family? No. Now this is more relevant to a senior client who's retired because I want to know if Social Security and I want to know if pension has a survivor benefit that goes to Mary. It's more effective when you're talking to but I always ask the question because I want to make sure that we are clear about this, that Joe's income will stop when he dies, and Mary's income will stop when she dies. Okay, so you're planting a little seed when you ask that question. All right, so I want to know the income ratio. Okay, the next thing I want to start finding out is, so Joe, tell me who your employer is, and I'll put it out to the right. So who's your employer? See, who do you work for? I work for GE Aircraft Engines. Okay, cool. What do you do there? I'm a welder. Okay, cool. So business has been good? Yeah, it's been real good. How long you been there? Okay, I've been there for 7 years. Okay, cool. Where did you work prior to that? I wanted to see what the history was. Well, I worked at Siemens Corporation doing the same thing. Oh, really? Okay. So prior to that, you worked at Siemens. I'm curious, did Siemens have a 401k? Did you have a 401k with Siemens? Yeah, I sure did. Did you transfer that to GE Aircraft Engines? Well, actually, no. I didn't know what to do with it. I just kind of kept it there. Oh, okay. But how much would you ballpark you got in that? Well, I think I have 150,000. Something like the last statement I saw was like 149,800 or something like that. Okay, so let's just say 150,000. Okay, great. All right, I don't go into too much more detail other than finding about 401k money. Oh, I might find out. Do you have any other life insurance in force right now? Yeah, I got insurance at work. It's 3 times my income. Oh, okay, that's great, man. That's great. But you know, that's kind of like work insurance. That's not like real insurance. Do you have any real insurance in place that's independent of work? Because you know, you and I know you can lose your job. So it's good to have that insurance, but that's not real insurance. Do you have any real insurance in place? Um, well, my mom got me a $5,000 Gerber policy when I was born, so I think she still has that on me. Okay, but you don't have anything else? No. Okay, cool. So you see what I just did? I didn't say that work insurance was bad, but I just kind of planted a seed because when they come up with the work insurance objection, I just got rid of it saying, well, that's not real insurance because you don't own that, right? So if you lose your job, that doesn't stay with you, does it? Remember, everything is a question, not a statement. You don't make a statement, you ask a question. So I'm curious, that's work insurance, right? So that's not something you can keep if you're no longer working. Oh no, if I'm not working there, I don't have it. Oh, okay, so that's not real insurance. Okay, do you have any real insurance where you own it? Do you see what I just did? I totally marginalized that objection that I have work insurance. So you're planting seeds, planting seeds, planting seeds. You don't want these little things to blow up in your face later. Okay, does that make sense? I want to know what their life insurance picture is. Then I do the same to Mary. So Mary, what do you do? Okay, you're a teacher? Great. So where do you teach? Oh, I teach in Blue Ash School District. Okay, cool. Awesome. And how long have you worked there? About 5 years? All right. So where did you work prior to that? You worked in a daycare, Montessori type place. Okay, great. Awesome. I'm curious, do they have any 401k? No, they didn't have anything like that. Do you have 401k now or any? Yeah, I do have. I have a little bit of retirement, the teacher's retirement. Okay, that's cool. And do you have any life insurance outside of work? You know, we talk about real insurance that you own. Do you have anything? Okay, no, you don't have anything. Okay, all right, good. Good. So I get the basic picture, where they worked, how long they worked, and then it allows me to ask the 401k for potential annuity opportunities there. I found out if they have any real insurance programs that they own not that work insurance. You know how I kind of push it over to the side that this doesn't really count, all right? And so that's all the setup right there, okay? Now I find out about their health situations. Joe, are you taking any medications for any health conditions? That's the exact way I say it. Because in this process, Joe, you know, all these insurance companies have this database that they have on you, so they all know what kind of medications you're taking. They know if you're sick, and you know, throughout this process, you know, we got to really write down to be accurate with what the database says about you, because we don't want them thinking that you're hiding anything. Okay, I'm laughing. You know, everything. You know, they have database on everybody. So you taking any medications? Yeah, I'm taking XYZ medication. Okay, so you're taking XYZ medication. Always find out why they're taking the medication. So why are you taking that medication? Okay, XYZ, I'm taking it for high blood pressure. Okay, cool. What else are you taking? So don't assume that you're done. Is that it? Is that it? That question leads for them not to disclose all their medications, right? So what else are you taking or have you been prescribed? Okay, cholesterol. Okay, cool. You got cholesterol. How's your cholesterol? Is that pretty good? Okay, cool. Anything else? What else are you taking? Okay, you take a little pill for diabetes. Okay, diabetes. By the way, I put their ages up here. So let's say Joe's 48 and Mary's 46. Okay. Is that pills? Is that, what is that? And, you know, they take pills for it, whatever. Or they control it by diet, you know. Okay, have you had many surgeries? In your entire life? I want to know what other surgeries. Well, I had my knee operated on in high school. Okay, that's cool. Rotator cuff surgery. And that's pretty much it. Okay, pretty much. Okay, don't like to say pretty. When they say pretty much is what we call a wishy-washy word. Anytime you feel like something's kind of goofy, okay, when something's kind of goofy, it probably is. So pretty much means what? Oh, that's all. Well, I had this other thing. Oh, see, it's the other thing that you don't know about that will burn you, okay? The other thing. By the way, here's one of the rules, okay? Like, let me go back to the rapport thing. If the one, like, for example, one or the other, spouse, whatever, if she's like this and she stays like this and you get a lot of attention from her, but the guy's tracking with you, and he's free with this information, and she's like still closed off to you, and you know because you matched her body, mirror matched her, that there's this tension that you're feeling, it's okay to call it out. The rule is, okay, here's rule number one, is if you feel it, say it. So any tension you're feeling, you call it out. If you feel it, say it. So how you do that is you do a pattern interrupt. So this is the pattern interrupt mode. Okay, you're going to hear a lot more about pattern interrupt technique. Say, hey, Joe and Mary, can I call a timeout? Okay, that's pattern interrupt. Hey, Joe and Mary, can I call a timeout, please? What are you going to say? No. Sure. They're going to like say it like that. Sure. They're kind of unsure. What do you mean by timeout? Basically, you're doing a pattern interrupt. Timeout. And then you do a softening statement. So the pattern interrupt, timeout, softening statement is, Joe and Mara, I'm getting the feeling that. Okay, I'm getting the feeling that. So you're not stating a confrontational way that Mary is not on board. You're not saying, Mary, you're just not on board with me, are you? That's confrontational. To do non-confrontation, you're saying, I'm getting the feeling that, Mary, I must have said something to make you mad because I feel like you're really not wanting to pursue this. You're not, I just feel a lot of, I don't know, I must have said something. So you fall on your sword. Be good at falling on your sword, right? Fall on your sword. It's no big deal. You're not there for your ego. Okay, so let's go through that again. Pattern interrupt. Can I call timeout, please? Yeah, sure. What's the matter? Well, Joe, Mary, I'm getting the feeling that, Mary, I must have said something to make you mad because I'm just getting the feeling like You're just not really wanting to do this. Is that right? Is that true? And I just shut up. I want to know, man. I want to know if I'm wasting my time here. Okay? Now, typically when I've run into the situation, when it's the wife, it's usually because the husband did not let her know that I was coming over. I've had that more often than not. And so she'll say, well, he didn't tell me you were coming over until about 5 minutes, and then you show up, and I had some other things and stuff planned, and it just totally messed up my schedule tonight. Oh, man, I'm sorry. Okay, fall on your sword. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Say it like, I'm sorry. Um, Listen, Joe, your husband wanted to make sure that you and the family were taken care of. He loves you very much. And this kind of protection will protect you and the kids to make sure that you have your home should something happen to Joe tomorrow, that you and the kids will still be here. I promise you this won't take much longer, but I believe it's really worth it because Joe loves you very much. You know that, right? See? See how what you did was you tried to bring her on board, and how you tested is, does she open herself up to you? Whenever I've done that, when I've made Joe the hero, I've said how much Joe loves you and the family, he wants it, and he may not have said it, but the fact that you're there means you can infer, you can impute that quality into Joe, that Joe likes you because you're getting him out of hot water, and you're addressing with Mary because you care enough about her, okay? You care enough about what she's thinking and feeling. Does that make sense? Okay, so Mary is the one you care about too. By the way, you're not just focusing on Joe, you're focusing on her. You go back and forth, you spread equally, and if you do anything, you may be slanted towards her, 55-45, okay, 60-40, her is who you focus on. Because typically, she's the one that makes the financial decisions. Joe may think he make all the decisions, but it's Mary who makes the decisions. She's just smart enough to let him think he's making the decisions. So you go to the power source in the home, and it's usually her, right? And so remember, pattern interrupt. Hey, can I call timeout? Softening statement. I'm getting the feeling that, and then state what you're feeling, and then just talk it out. And look, if she ain't coming with you, if she's not going down this road, and you don't got bond or rapport, then you have my permission to pack up and leave. See, this whole thing is designed for you not to waste your time with someone who's not a real client. Because this whole process is you qualifying them as a real client. Are they a real client or not? Because if they're not, then you're wasting your time. You got to move on, Joe, Mary. It's time to move on. I'm serious about this. Okay? Because if you are slick enough to make a sale, I promise you, she's going to cut his legs out from under him, and she's going to make him cancel it. So why fool yourself? That's the 11th commandment, is thou shalt not fooleth thyselfeth, thinking that you got something when you got nothing. And it was usually something that you knew you had, but you just suppressed it. You were in denial. Okay, you were in denial river, baby, floating in a wicker boat. Right? Because you were thinking you got some, but you knew deep in your heart that you got nothing. I mean, how many times has it happened to you? So you got to get the spouse on board. It could be the husband. Either way, you call it out, okay? So getting back to this, I want to find out. Okay, we talked about testing bond rapport. This is how you'll test it. You'll find out here. Okay, then you get married, and she's just like, she's on Synthroid because of a hypoactive thyroid, and then surgery. She has a hysterectomy. Was that cancer related, or it's just no? She had endometriosis, and then that's what happened. Okay, cool. All right. Any other medications? What else are you taking? What else are you taking? Okay, great. Okay, so now I get a good picture health-wise. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, they still qualify. They still qualify for mortgage protection. Okay. Now, kind of in this case, because he's 48, probably not because he's under 50. All right, but let's just pretend he's not diabetic. Okay, just make it easy. Just make it easy. All right, but I want to know all those things. So there are ways to handle him. Okay, this is not, we're not talking about proposal strategies. I got another video on proposal strategies. Okay, so I find out more about them. And again, this is testing the bottom report to see if you really have it. Okay, so now you got kind of their picture. Other things you can find out. So, got any felony background or anything like that? How's your driving record? Is your driving record any good? Like, have you had 3 or more moving violations the last 5 years? Remember, I'm kind of pre-asking the questions on the form, okay, to kind of get an idea whether or not I think they can get into simplified issue. Because then as you're filling out the form, you find that out and it's blowing up. And a lot of those questions are here. Okay, criminal or driving record, military member with orders. You know, if they're a military member, do you have orders to deploy overseas in a theater, combat theater? Okay, just some of those things you got to ask those questions. Okay, so there you go. See, so you know what their income is, you know kind of their financial picture, you know their health history, and you've kind of got this slide done, and this tests your bottom report. Okay, now here's where you start drilling into the pain process. Okay, so this kind of gives you somewhere to go. So you got the lead. Okay, and I've shown them the lead. I'm going to say I refer back to the lead. Let me find one. So Joe and Mary, why did you send this in? Take me back. So here's how you ask that question. Okay, there's a more protection word. So Joe and Mary, take me back to when you filled this out. Take me back to when you filled this out. You say it just like that. Take me back to when you filled this out. Okay, and who filled this out? Mary filled it out. Okay, but Joe, you're the one who signed it. Yeah, she had me sign it. Okay, cool. Well, take me back, Mary, to when you filled this out. What was on your mind? What was on your heart? I say it just like that. Now that's an NLP technique to take them back. See, you took them back to when they got married or when they met each other in their honeymoon, or when they were courting each other. Now you're taking them back to when they filled this out. Okay, so you take me back to when you filled this out. What were you thinking about? What were you feeling about this? I want them to articulate what they were thinking about, because I don't care what they think about it today, because today it was, oh, we don't think we can afford it. We don't think we need it. We're just going to see what the prices are. I want to know the urgency of what put their pen to paper. So take me back to when you first filled this out. What was on your mind? What were you thinking about? Do you remember where you were? Was it here in the house? Was it winter, summer? What was this back in December? I try to get them back to the place and time where they were, because I want them to remember what it felt like, because something caused her to fill out her height and weight, his height and weight, smoking status, home phone, cell phone, work phone number, who to call, and then stick it in an envelope and poof, send it off into the mail, the U.S. mail, hoping that maybe someone's going to get it on the other end, the Mortgage Protection Center. And, okay. So she's saying, help me, please. Okay. So take me back. So you want them to start articulating, tell me about why you sent this in. I want to know. And typically, the pain process begins with asking the question. Now, this is where you ask questions and they answer them. You don't make statements. This is the part that drives me crazy. Most new salespeople think they got to make statements. Like, well, you can't afford, I can imagine with this kind of income that Mary, you can't afford, if you lose Joe, you're going to lose his income. You can't afford to stay here. You can't afford that mortgage payment. What happens when you make statements like that? Well, they start defending it. You start saying statements like that, then they start defending themselves. Okay, so let me tell you a technique, a questioning technique that works great in the pain finding process, okay? And it's called the pendulum. It's called negative reversing, okay? And you can look up negative reverse. It's kind of an NLP technique. So the pendulum technique works like this, okay? Here's the pendulum, okay? When the pendulum swings up here, they buy. If it swings the other way, they don't buy. Okay? So here they buy, here they don't buy. Now what most agents try to do is they try to do features benefits selling, where they say, don't you want this product? It's Forster's. Forster's take care of the kids, and they have all these member benefits that are free. And then if you die, it's a level benefit, so it'll cover the full amount regardless of what your mortgage is, and you can take it with you. So if you refinance, you can keep the product forever. And if you pay the house off early, you can still keep it. It acts like a life insurance program. And it's got these really cool things for kids. So like if they became orphans, they're going to pay them money every month. They got this critical illness thing, and it's really cool. They're just such a cool company because you can do playground bills, and they have all these free member benefits, and it's just really a cool company. Okay, I know you want to buy because I know you like me now because I'm just so smart, and I showed you why Foresters is better than Mutual of Omaha because I put these things together, and I know Foresters is awesome. It's a great company. Please buy because I got to make my mortgage payment. Okay, see, what happens is that guy tries to pull the pendulum towards the buy. Where's the momentum? When you try to pull the client towards buying, the momentum of the pendulum swings the other way where they don't want to buy from you because you're too desperate. You're trying to do features benefits selling. You start acting like a salesperson. Oh my gosh. Please don't act like a salesperson. All right? Please. I'll put a crucifix up. It's like you're a vampire. Stop. Stop. Don't act like a salesperson. Oh my gosh. You're probably wondering, God, do you keep crucifixes around your office? You don't know when a vampire might be like out the door asking to come in. I got my crucifix and holy water. Just kidding. So how you find pain is by asking questions. Never make a statement. You make small statements. Don't make statements because then salespeople make statements about things that they want their client to think. Never make a client think something that they're not thinking. You ask questions to get them thinking about it on their own. The whole process we're talking about here, gang, is not you closing the client. It's the client closing themselves. Because what you did was you've hewn a path for them to walk down. You've like got the machete out and you're chopping the jungle, and there's only one path for them to go down, and that's taking care of their families, right? So you got the machete, you're the one that's carving the path. So this questioning technique called negative reversing doesn't start off with you selling them a thing, it's you asking questions. So what does that mean? It's you're pushing them this way. You're pushing them not to buy, but what is their momentum? What happens to their momentum? When you push them this way, their momentum is to buy, okay? That's the whole deal with negative reverse technique, and it's a powerful technique. It's very manipulative in a positive way. So let me give you an example. I love doing this to my, when I was teaching this back in the days to my young son, Athen. Okay, so I come home and he's playing video games, okay? He's not doing his homework. He's playing his video games, okay? So I could either be, I could push him towards buying the idea that he should do his homework by pulling him that way, and I'm going to get a bunch of grief. It's just going to be, it's me telling him what to do all the time instead of him making a decision, making the smart decision. So that's one way I've taught my kids is they make smart decisions. I don't make the decision for them and tell them what to do. But I use negative reversing to illuminate what is a good idea. So I could be that non-permissive parent, or that, I forgot what you call them. I could be the parent that says, Athen, drop that video game now and go do your homework. Okay? And he'll end up doing it because I told him to. But did he make that decision? No, he didn't make that decision. I told him what to do. So all of a sudden I'm taking it out of his hands. Okay? Here's a better way to do it. It's called negative reversing. So how I negative reverse Athen to do his homework is I go, hey dude, how you doing, man? Wow, you must got your homework done. No, Daddy. Oh, really? Well, I'm sure the homework you have to do is, you're probably getting an A in that class, aren't you? Silence. And you know what he does? Even after that second one, I can go further, by the way. I'm ready to go further with more questions. He shuts down the video game and he goes and he does his homework. Now, did Alex have to tell him? Did Daddy have to tell him to go do his homework? No. He came to that conclusion. by himself. He sold himself on doing his homework. I just illuminated the path. I lit the path. Oh, that's where I need to go. Because he's not getting an A in that class, and he still has to do it. I didn't tell him one thing. And that's what you're doing here in the pain process. You're letting the client discover what pain they're trying to solve. Now, what is pain? Pain is the reason that motivates them to do anything. It's to solve a problem. Okay? So the pain process, oh man, I'm running out of real estate. You get them feeling, okay, they're feeling well today. When you walk in, they're feeling well. Okay, that word is well. They're feeling well. And what your objective is to get them to feel sick. And then you get them feeling sick to get them into critical condition. Okay, you get them into critical condition, and then you got to do CPR. They need you to do CPR on them. Okay, and then you got to get like the shocker thing to shock them. Okay, then you take them back to getting them well again. So the pain process, they start off well, you get them sick, you get them feeling critical, and then you get them feeling well again. Okay, and to do that, it takes asking questions. It's not making statements. All right, so you ask questions. So take me back, Mary. What was on your mind when you filled this out? When you filled this form out, what was on your mind? She says, well, it'll start logically. The pain process goes from logical to emotional. You need to get it emotional. You need to make it hurt. All right. So the emotion of it is this. Well, she'll say, this happens all the time. She'll go, well, we just wanted to kind of find rates, and it'll always start like rates. We want to, because, and they might even touch on, if something happened to Joe, then things would be really tough. Okay. And so if they give you that opening, okay, but if they just say, well, we're just finding rates, oh, great, I've got lots of rates. I've got rates all over this in this computer. We can give you rates. But let me ask you, what really, after all the racing, I mean, what problem are you trying to solve? What are you trying to accomplish with this coverage? Well, I just want to make sure that, something happens to Joe that was to be able to stay in the house. Okay, now most of you will stop right there thinking, woo, I got it. This is a done deal. It's like, no, you didn't. Because she just kind of sold you because she told you what you wanted to hear. See, the pain process, you got to be willing to ask 12 pain questions to drill down to where it hurts. Okay, and it's not a good feeling. You're doing it right when you're feeling uncomfortable because you got to make the client feel uncomfortable. I did a role play yesterday in Bradley. Oh my gosh, Tuesday. The gal, she's just an agent, but I did a real pain finding process where she started feeling really nervous. I felt the tension, and she's just an agent role playing with me, but we're using real people. Okay. And it went kind of like this, and this is how it typically goes. So I said, take me back when you fill this out. Well, we were just looking for rates. Oh, okay, well, I got a lot of rates for you, but what were you really trying to take care of here? Well, I found out how much her husband made. He made like $45,000, and she makes about $35,000. Okay. So tell me, your husband is driving down 57. Oncoming car jumps the median, and he's killed in a headlong collision by a drunk driver. So your husband's not around tomorrow. When is your mortgage due? Well, my mortgage due the 15th of the month. Oh, okay. That's kind of, how much is it? It's 900. Ah, 900. Wow. How long have you lived here? Oh, we've lived here 6 months. Oh, so do you love this house? So oh, we love this house. We were in an apartment before. Oh, you're in an apartment. How big was the apartment? Well, the apartment was about as big as the house, but we were paying more for the apartment than we are paying for the house. Oh, so that made sense. So how much do you love your house? Oh, I love this house. I love just that it's ours. I love the fact that my kids are in a good school district. Oh, tell me more about that. Well, the school district we're in our apartment is just a terrible school district, but now they go to private Catholic school. Really, so do mine. My kids go to private Catholic school too. But they were in a, they went to a public school out there. Oh man. Okay, gang. What I'm number one, I'm trying to find out how much he loves the house. Number two, I'm trying to find out the reasons why they moved into the house. I'm trying to find things, right? I'm trying to find things that I can build the pain funnel on. Okay, the pain funnel is where you got to walk down that road. So Ray, her husband's name is Ray. So Ray's gone. So Ray, by the way, you're dead, so you can't say anything. So I'm going to ask Yvette, actually is her name, Yvette, I'm going to ask Yvette these questions. Ray, you're no longer here, okay? Having fun, right? So the mortgage is due, and then here's where negative reversing happens. You don't say, I'm sure you don't have the money to make the mortgage payment, do you? You don't say it like that. That's a stupid way of saying it, because you're saying like a salesperson. You negative reverse and you just assume that they do. Just say, well, I'm sure you can make the mortgage payment, right, on your income all by yourself. She actually said yes to that question. She said, well, yeah, I can still make the mortgage payment. And see, this is kind of the problem sometimes of being specific, because I had to really ask a lot of questions. And so when she said, well, I can make the mortgage payment, so in my mind I'm thinking, okay, well then why am I here? See, understand where this conversation was going. Well, I can make the mortgage payment. Well, I'm confused. Then why am I here? I don't understand. You said that you wanted to get this because you thought you could lose the house. I'm confused. Why am I here then? Oh no, I can make the mortgage payment, but I can't make the other bills. You see, sometimes people think because her paycheck covers the mortgage, his paycheck covers food, utilities, cable, all those other things. And so I was kind of making this assumption that they kind of grouped all their money together. But I asked her a very specific question. She gave me a very specific answer. So until I started asking more about that, oh, so you're saying you could live in the house, but you wouldn't be able to eat. And she's laughed. She goes, yeah, that's right. Okay, so you want you and your children to eat? She goes, yes. So basically what you're telling me is, if it's a choice between food and mortgage, you could make the mortgage payment, but you're going to feed your kids, right? Well, yeah. So in other words, you're telling me that it's probably going to be tight. Is it going to be tight? She goes, well, yeah, it's going to be tight. So tell me what tight means to you. See, I want to know her definition of these words. I don't want my definition. I don't want to assume anything about what I think about these words she's using. Tell me more about that. See, these are pain-finding questions. Tell me more about that. What does tight mean to you? What does hard to make the mortgage payment mean to you? What's hard to live mean to you? What does that mean to you? And I shut up. See, people can't stand silence, so you let silence be the thing that helps you close the deal because you shut up and let them talk. So what does tight mean to you, Vet? And I'll wait. I don't care how long. I'll wait 5 minutes until she answers that question. Well, I said, she goes, this is actually what she said. Well, we'd have to move into an apartment. Oh, really? Yeah, we'd have to go back to an apartment. I go, well, I'm sure. Okay, again. Okay, part of the pain question. So I would say, like, why would you have to move apart? I'm sure you probably have enough savings. Okay, listen to this. I'm sure you probably have enough savings put back. You probably live in your house for another year, right? No? Well, I'm sure you have family that will help you make that mortgage payment until you can get on your feet. Oh no. See what I'm doing? It's not like I'm being sarcastic. Remember, all these questions, what has to be behind these questions is that you care about asking with a nurturing spirit. You got to care about them. That's the biggest thing. The underlying thing with all this is a nurturing, caring attitude. So I'm sure you have enough savings probably that you can still stay in the house for another year or two, right? I'm sure you got family that'll help you. She'll say no, 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 no. And she's starting to fidget. And she honestly, she started like almost sweating. She was fidgeting, visibly fidgeting. And this is just an agent in role play with me.
And I was negative reversing the snot out of her to get to her pain. So I'm sure you can find an apartment in the same area as your school district. She goes, not where I live. Well, I'm sure you can probably find it for the same price you're paying for rent or some lower. Oh no, not where I live, not in that school district. Where would you go? Oh yeah. And I say, well, I'm sure you could probably move in with your parents. She goes, well, I could, but I don't want that. We would just move back to our neighborhood. You mean you'd have to take your kids out of private school, private Catholic school, and put them back into public school? I do just that. I just thought, oh man. That's what I did yesterday or the day before yesterday with her. And I just let it ring. Man, I let that statement kind of go bounce off the walls around me, and it's swirling, and it's all Ray can do to like say something, but I made him shut up, and she's like, she's freaking out by now, honestly. It was kind of funny. I mean, not funny in a, like, I was enjoying it kind of way. Well, I was kind of enjoying the process because I was taking her down the road to take care of her family. Okay? Some people might think that's kind of a sick enjoyment, but I was doing the right thing for them. And I was not feeling comfortable about this because someone's got to get them in these conversations. Because one thing is for sure, husband and wife's never going to have this conversation together. Your job as the insurance person, as a person that cares about the mortgage protection specialist, is to make them have this conversation, to make them feel what it's going to be like when should it happen. Because they're not going to have an honest conversation, so it's your job to do this. And if it makes you uncomfortable, then you're being selfish if you don't want to get them to this point. Then you might as well quit. Because you're not wanting to do your job. This is your job to take care of families. And if you're not willing to take them down that emotional pain funnel, then you don't care about them, in my opinion. You care more about yourself and how good you feel. You just want to make a sale and feel good all through it. No, you got to take them through the junk, gang. You got to take them through the pain, because if there's no pain, then you walk out of there. You'll never make a sale that will stick if there's not pain there. And if you tell me, Alex, I drilled, I drove, I couldn't find any pain, I walked out of there, I couldn't do anything for him. Amen, hallelujah. See, the system is designed for you to close 100% of people with pain and 0% of people with zero pain. So it's okay to walk out of a house where there's zero pain, because you're never going to make the sale anyway, nor would I want you to, because then your placement persistency would suck. Do you hear what I'm saying? So this is the most important part of this whole thing, is you got to care about them to take them down this road to hell and back. And I'm serious about it, gang. You got to do that. It's your job. So get used to it. And it takes practice, because it's coming from the place that you care about them. So she's like saying this, I go, they gotta go to public school? She said, yeah, they're going to have to go back to the old school. Well, I'm sure that your kids probably wouldn't mind going back to their old friends and their old situation, right? Oh my gosh. I hit a nerve with this one. I negative reversed her. Man, she goes, oh no. Oh no. They would hate it. Tell me about that. See, I'm asking more questions. Tell me about that. Oh, they would hate it. Why would they hate it? And then she tells me situations. It's like, oh my gosh, really? Oh my God. Oh. Okay, you think I'm going overboard? I am not. I'm getting her where she needs to be. And when my spirit, when my feelings say that I took her to the edge, okay, when I take her to the edge, then I turn to Ray. Okay, Ray, you're alive today. How does that make you feel, knowing that Yvette and the 4 girls, she's got 4 young girls, are going to have to go through that? Tell me about how you feel about that. And I'll let him talk. I shut up and let him talk. And he becomes the hero. He becomes the father, the husband that he ought to be. It puts a steel rod up his backbone so he can do the right thing for his family, which is taking care of them now. You know what I'm saying? Taking care of them now. And when you look back to any time you didn't close, it's probably because you didn't do this part right. I'm telling you, man. I've gotten people to where they're crying. That's how much I care about them. I get them emotional because it's what you're supposed to do. Now, you're not going to be good at it at first, but start getting better and better by practicing it, okay? I don't expect you to be very good at this at all, but I want you to start getting there. You get there, it's done, okay? So, Ray, how do you feel about that? Now, this is the transition. It's called anchoring the feeling of you being their hero. Oh, man. Well, Yvette and Ray, that's why I'm here. I will make sure that you never have to go through that ever, because we're going to take care of this tonight. That's why I'm here. So you get them feeling well again by applying the shocker things, by telling them that's why I'm here. So what you're doing is you're rescuing them from that feeling by telling them you're the one that's going to wipe that away, and you're anchoring that good feeling to you. Not that other agent that's trying to book an appointment with them, not their current agent that they don't like, but to you. You are the one that's going to help them. That's why I'm here. I'll make sure that never happens to you, because we're going to take care of this tonight. Is that all right? And they're going to say, yes. It's done, man. It's done, except for the shouting. You know what I'm saying? All right? But you got to follow through all the way through. All right? So you nailed the pain. Does that make sense? You nailed this pain process. You got them from well to sick to critical to well. Then you transition to the upfront contract. That's why I'm here. I'm going to make sure that never ever happens to you, because we're going to take care of this tonight. Is that okay? Yes, they give you permission that it's okay to take care of it. Okay, so this is where it kind of gets weird, because now you're going into salesman mode. And I'll just say, we're going to take care of this product called mortgage protection. We can do things like help you pay your mortgage off so you don't have to worry about the mortgage ever again, or pay part of it so we can refinance it so it's affordable. There are a lot of different things we can do to help you here, okay? But I'm going to help you out. All right. So the upfront contract is this one slide, what happens next. So what does upfront contract mean? Upfront contract means that you are going to follow through on what you said you're going to do. I'm going to make sure that never happens to you, because I'm going to take care of it tonight. So this is what happens next. This is how we're going to take care of it. All right? And I'm going to draw out what's going to happen next. Okay? So, erase this. So I start drawing this diagram. It's kind of like a John Madden telestrator on Monday Night Football. And it's not so much how you draw it out, it's that you draw it out for them, because you're giving them kind of the visual game plan on this sheet of paper, okay? It's the visual game plan of what's going to happen next. So let me tell you what's going to happen next. What we're going to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out 3 options, 1, 2, and 3, okay? After seeing this information, I'm going to lay out 3 options that will meet your needs and budget. You just choose which one that you think will be the best for your family that you can afford. Okay, and it'll take care of what we talked about. All right, you're going to pick the one you want. So I'm going to circle number 2. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create an application. So I'm going to draw a square. So we're going to fill out an application. Okay, we're going to include the bank draft authorization or check for the first month premium with it, and we're going to send it to the insurance company. Okay. Now look. I wish I could approve you, because I think you're a great family. I wish I could approve you right now, but I can't. The insurance company has to underwrite it. They got to make sure that it's going to go through. So I don't know if you're going to be approved or not. It looks like you might be approved. All right. I'm hoping that you'll be approved. Okay. So we're going to try and get you this approved. I'm going to do my best. Okay. So basically what you're saying is that it's not a done deal, gang. I mean, they don't have time to think about it. There's nothing to think about, because we're planting the seed that the insurance company's got to think about it first. Okay? So you're drawing this out here, Okay, so if the insurance company approves you, which we hope will happen, what they're going to do is they're going to send the policy, okay, this will be this document, they're going to send it back to me, your agent, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to deliver it back to you, all right? I'm going to deliver it back to you, and then we're going to go over it, and we'll do a celebration, okay? All right? Now, if it's not approved, okay, let's say it's not approved, what I'm going to do, okay, is I'm going to come back to you with another option, 1, 2, and 3, that you're going to pick with another carrier, maybe with another product that I know that have a better chance of you approving you in this one. So always have somewhere to go. So are you willing to, this process could take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but are you willing to hang in there with me so we can get the best possible opportunity for you to get covered? Is that cool? So you're laying a foundation, you're laying them a process down so they know what's going to happen. Okay? So are you good with this process? Are you good with this? Does it sound good to you? You drew it out for them. Okay, and what you want to hear is absolutely, yes, 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 that sounds good. Yes, you want to hear a yes. Now, if you hear like, well, yeah, I mean, that sounds all well and good, and I think that's, something we can do. Well, so if she doesn't open up, you pack them and leave. Yeah, I do pack up and leave. Justin asks, if she doesn't open up, I say, well, I'll tell you what. Okay, so this is going back. This is a great question. I answered the same exact question 2 days ago. Yes, if she doesn't open up, so we're going back to the situation where the wife doesn't open up and she's still like, I go, you know what? This is too important for you, Mary, to be totally distracted with what you got to do. I respect what you got to do. And I feel really uncomfortable because I really want you on board with this because it doesn't make any sense to do otherwise. So I tell you what, how about I got some time tomorrow at the same time to come back. How about if I come back? And then Mary, you'll get your stuff done, and I'll get out of here, out of your hair. But I really need to find a time where we can get back together. So I book a meeting from a meeting, and more times than not, she'll be good with that. Or she'll even say, well, no, that's okay. I can reschedule because by that time she's warmed up to me. She knows I care about them. She knows I care, and she'll know that, well, this guy really kind of cares about this. Maybe I should care. Or she'll, she's not. Because with her still crossing her arms, it's just like running a one-legger, man. How many times have you closed the one-legger that's stuck? I'm not about to fool myself, right? Thou shalt not fooleth thyself, and that's the big deal right there. Another thing I might do, and I've done this before, is like, I tell you what, I want to make sure that you're both on board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step out for about 5 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever. I want you guys to talk about it, see what you want to do, and I can continue on, or I can, come back, and we can set up a time. You tell me what you want to do, because I really don't want to, get in the middle of this, and I'll just go to my car and make some more dials, make 5 more dials, because I got to fill my picture out, and then come back. Hey, so what do y'all want to do? I'm serious. I'll walk out of there. I will walk out of there. I don't want to keep going. So that's how I'd answer that. Okay, so get back to this. So if you're not getting a firm yes, then I know there's a little bit there. Maybe I didn't do the pain well enough. Maybe I didn't do bond report well enough. But there's just this little hesitation. So there's 2 ways to handle the hesitation. Okay. This is the option. So here's my first option. Okay, the first option is to close the think about it. Okay, how do I close the think about it? So if I feel like I don't get a firm answer here, then I'll do close the think about it. By the way, Joe and Mary, really, there's only two reasons in my experience that people want to tell me they want to think about this before they make a decision. The first reason is they really can't afford the options I showed them. And sometimes they pick one because they don't want to feel embarrassed that they can't afford something that's obviously good for their families, assuming that that's the only three options they have. And I want you to know that I am the master at giving you options that will take care of your family, all right? That will be affordable. So here's the promise that I want you to make to me is that if you feel like you want to say you want to think about it because it's too expensive and you can't afford it, I want you to promise me that you're going to tell me that you can't afford it and is there anything else that we can choose from? And I promise you I'll be able to help you. Okay, so can you make me that promise that you're not going to want to tell me you want to think about it because you can't afford it? Is that cool? And they're going to say yes. Typically they'll say yes. Now here's the technique I'm using here is called reframing. Reframing. It's what politicians use every time they get up and talk about, well, really, you know, all you pro-lifers, I am really pro-life, even though I have a pro-abortion stand. I really am pro-life. And then they wiggle into this box where by the definition of the box, they are pro-life, okay, when they're really not, by the real definition, okay? I won't go into that politically, that political bombshell there. Politicians and debaters are great at reframing the argument. It's like Bill Clinton. I did not have sex with that woman. Like, okay, so we're gonna have to define the word sex or did not. Which word do we got to redefine? I did not, or inhale, or what word do you want to redefine? See, he was the master at redefining words. So that's what you're doing here. So you promised me that you're not going to tell me think about it because you can't afford it because you know that you're going to tell me you can. I'll find something for you. And they say yes. Okay, this is where you close the universe. The think about it universe only exists for two reasons. Okay, the second reason, Joe and Mary, I mean, I don't actually say that. Okay, that's in my head. This is the cloud bubble I'm thinking. Okay, the whole universe of think about it is boiled down to these two things. That's the cloud, you know, in a comic book, cloud around your head. Okay, this is what you really said. The only other reason, so that's how you totally reframe this. This is the most awesome psychological thing that you could ever do is reframe the argument, saying the only other reason anyone ever tells you they want to think about it is because they don't like me. There's something I said or did that made them mad. You know, maybe they don't like the color of my skin, the shape of my eyes. You know, maybe there's just something about me. And here's the thing. I don't want your feelings about me to prevent you from doing what you should do for your family. And so if that's the case, I promise you, I will have another agent here to take care of you. Okay? So you promise me that tonight's not a think about it night? Okay, tonight's not a think about it night. Is that okay? And that's where you lock down the think about it. Does anyone text me with any questions on that? Cord. Oh, Susie. Okay. So, all right. So that's how you close. That's the first option. And they'll say, okay, yeah, they agree with you. Yeah, tonight's not a think about it night. See, didn't you know that you tell them they can't think about it? Because think about it's not a real excuse, by the way. That's not a real excuse not to take care of their family tonight. Give me a better, basically the cloud, the comic book cloud in your head is, tell me the real reason that you don't want to take care of your family tonight. Tell me the real reason, Joe, because think about it, it's not a real reason. That's not a real, give me the real reason. You want to know the real reason because you can't answer an objection that you don't know about. So the whole purpose of the upfront contract here, upfront contract is to make sure that they really want it. You know they need it, but do they really want it? Do they really want it from you? Do they really want it now? You want to catch any objection that you don't know about it because you told them, you took away the think about it stall. Now what you're saying in your mind, okay, tell me, hit me with the real reason, baby. Hit me with the real reason. because you're going to get it here, and then you can answer it. Does that make sense? You screen all the crap out, and then you get to the real brass tacks. Okay, and here's what I've run into. Let me tell you my experience in the 15 years I've been doing this. The question will come up. Okay, do I have to write a check now? Oh my gosh! No, you don't. We can tell the bank, we can tell the insurance company exactly when, because they'll say something. Well, I don't get paid till next Friday. We're already talking like the mechanics because you pulled it out. They're like, I can't afford to do this now. Well, yeah, you can, because we can, but you wouldn't be able to answer because, well, Alex, we got to think about it. When really the reason was they weren't sure if they had the money until next Friday. Do you see how, like, I promise you, half of the time you didn't close them in the home was something silly like that you could have taken care of had you known. And that's why the upfront contract process is there, for you to know what the real reason is. Because think about it, it's not a real reason to not take care of their family. And some of y'all get so like wishy-washy and pansy that you're not wanting to find that out. So now I've given you tools, doing negative reversing, asking questions to clear the junk away to find the real reason. All right? So that's the upfront contract. I'm telling you, after you get through these phases here, the bond and rapport where you create trust and belief, the pain process where you get them to think about they need this, and then finally upfront contract, they want it. Man, it's all over but the shout. Now we got to get them into a price they can't afford, and that's pretty easy. We got so many products. Okay, laying out the proposal to them. Okay. So once you've got the firm commitment in the upfront contract, something good's going to happen, then we take them to this slide, which is laying out their options. Okay, so what I do is I have my paper. I have a piece of paper, a blank version of this. You know, I didn't pull one out. Anyway, a blank version of this, all right, where I lay out their options. And sometimes what I'll do beforehand, since I find out their medications on the phone, if I were new. I don't have to do that now because my underwriting, I got field underwriting down. But if you don't got your field underwriting down, then you want to know like all their medications on the phone so that you can kind of pre-prepare some options. And I'll help you pre-prepare options so you know what to put down. But so what I'll do is I'll find out their options and I'll lay them out. And you have to lay out options. People need options to choose from, but they don't need a bunch of options. I promise you, you do like 5, 6, 7 options, I promise you're going to have to think about it because you got their brain so messed up that they don't know what to choose because you gave them too many. Like they did a study on a university campus, and it's one of the Malcolm Gladwell books, where they had, actually it's another one, it's another book, I forgot which one it was. But one end of the campus, they sell 28 different types of jam and jellies. And the other end of the campus, they only sell 2 types of jam and jellies. Guess which one they sold more? Which location sold more? Obvious. It's the one that had only 2 choices. Because when you had too many, when potential buyers, students were bombarded with all these choices, they just didn't know what to choose. But with only 2 choices, man, done deal, baby. Right? So I'm a 3-option person. So option 1, 2, and 3. And so what I'll do is I'll write this out. I will calculate. I'll be having a conversation with them. I'll calculate my rates. I already have them pre-calculated. Okay? And I'm going to write it out for them. So now this is key, and I want you to catch this. This is one of the most important things when you lay out their options. During the pain process, you found you're talking to the one that has the worst problem. What's the worst problem? It's the one who probably makes less money that has the worst problem. All right? So I focus on the person who has the worst problem, which is Mary, because if Joe dies, she loses $60,000 out of a $100,000 household income. She's the one with the bigger problem, so I'm going to look at Joe. I'm going to focus on covering Joe. I'm not going to look at covering both of them. I'm just going to look at covering Joe. I want to make sure that the main breadwinner gets covered with their available dollars. I don't want them to look at this as a two-person thing, because now the premium is this huge premium to cover both of them, and they're thinking that we have to cover both of them. I don't want to then rip one away, like sell them on both and then rip one away. It's easier to add than to subtract. All right? It's either add the person than to subtract them. So I focused on taking care of Joe. I don't even talk about Mary. Guess who brings up Mary? Joe or Mary will bring up Mary. Because it sounds like this. Well, okay, that's good for Joe, but how about me? Because I've already laid the price out. They picked one, and then they asked, well, how about me? That just covers you. How about me? That gives you permission to do a quote on her, to cover her life. But I'm focusing on Joe because I don't want them to get, messed up with having to cover the whole thing for both of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out for Joe. So I'm going to cover him, like say, the full $125,000 death benefit for 30 years. Okay. And then I might add 50% return of premium with CFG, because that's a really cool option right there. And I'd have a price for with it and without it, but I'd only put the one with it, and let's just say it's $95 a month. All right. Then the second option, what I'll do is I will take 60%. That's the income ratio. I'll take 60% times 125,000. I take the income ratio because I already told her that it's a level death benefit. So what I'll do is I'll multiply 0.60 times 125,000. I'll do it on my calculator, 75,000. So I'm going to show him at 75,000 because Mary, this is a level benefit. So Mary, you get 75,000. Your mortgage payment goes from 1,000 to maybe $400 a month. See, this is why I need to know the mortgage payment, because I bring the mortgage payment down. So Mary, can you afford to make a $400 a month mortgage payment? And she says, well, yes, on my income I can. See what you just did? You made it okay to pick the lower amount. That gets you out of the all or nothing mode. Well, if I can't cover it all, then I can't. No, the solution is not to pay the whole mortgage off. The solution, the objective is to keep the family in the home. All right, you just showed her how to do that. And by the way, Mary, since the 75,000 goes on, the longer Joe lives, see, we're already killing Joe. He's got to live. So the longer he lives, because we're assuming he's going to die, the longer he lives, the less you got to pay off, and pretty soon you'll have 75,000 to pay off, and it'll cover the entire rest of it. Cool? Is that cool? And I might even throw in an accidental death benefit in here. The other thing I might do, so let's say that's $75 a month. Okay, now these are just examples. I mean, I've got a myriad of examples in the proposal module. And then I might just do 60,000 and 60,000 accidental. So ADB, accidental death benefit. So I might drop down 60,000. This might be $50 a month. Okay, full benefit, 60,000, 60,000 accidental death benefit. Okay, here's what I'm trying to go after. I'm trying to solve their problem with 3 options, but I give them significant price points. Okay, I don't try to nickel and dime going from 95 to 90 to 85. Because this is not about my commission. It's about giving them an option they can afford, right? So Joe and Mary, I push this paper to them. I give them a pen. Circle the one that you feel comfortable with. And then I pull my laptop out and I get the electronic application. I'll boot it up. Or I pull out my application. I start filling it out. I'm doing something while they're deciding. And I'm listening to them talk. And I'm watching them circle it. Because I'm assuming it's a done deal. You don't ask for the sale. You're assuming the sale because they already told you why they want it. You did the paying part. They said that they wanted it. Now that we're looking to find something they can afford. So circle the best one for you. Oh, this one looks good. I think we can afford that one. Great. By the way, Alex, that's just for me. How about Mary? So I do the same for Mary. You see how that works? I do the same for Mary. Done. So that's the fulfillment. The fulfillment is fulfilling expectations. You can take care of them with something they can afford. Okay, the other part of the fulfillment process, okay, now I love electronic applications, by the way, but what I found is that electronic applications take me a little bit longer, but it's kind of worth it because you don't have to worry about getting forms physically signed and missing a signature. So I'm a big advocate of electronic apps, but you need to learn how to do the paper applications first. So I recommend doing the paper applications, highlighting where you know you need to get their signatures, running by Danielle in the office or someone who knows how to fill the application out and ask them. And the other thing, fill out an application before you go out there. Something that I just want to strangle agents in a kind way, proverbially, that's a word. When they call me in the house and they ask me about something on the application while they're actually filling out with a client. Fill the application out on yourself, your wife, your spouse, your dog before you actually have to do it live. Does that make sense? Don't let your first application be with a client, because I guarantee you're going to screw it up. And then you're going to get all mad because your policy is getting hung up because of stuff you forgot. It's like, dude, do that. Fill out the application before you go. All right? I just want to slap you with a wet noodle. Be prepared. It's like Boy Scouts, baby. Be prepared. Patrick Carnes was a Boy Scout. He's always prepared. All right. So you got the fulfillment. And then part of the fulfillment are the other slides. So Joe and Mary, let me tell you what we got to do next. It's not done. Don't act like it's done after you get the application filled out. Okay, this is what we need to do next. And then you transition. Okay, this is the other way to serve them with ERS. Get the ERS names. It's part of the application process. Okay, this is what we need to do next. And there's modules on ERS. We've got a ton of them. Minikino does a great job. We got a module on YouTube for that. And then the prescription discount card, so the RX card. All right. The other way to serve them and fulfill their expectations of you, the agent that cares, is find opportunity for safe money. We already identified some 401k money, 150,000, and then we're going to leave them the book Growth Without Risk because you have a copy in your bag. All right. And you're going to leave that now. You're going to book a meeting for a meeting. So you're going to book another meeting to sit down and talk about what you can do with that money. So you got the RX card. Okay, you got the safe money for annuities. Okay. Then finally, the last one is tax-free retirement. This is why you have a Patrick Kelly book with you. Okay, and this is I put this in here because, I tell them about the real benefits. The tax-free retirement, and you have a Patrick Kelly book. Because some of them start getting into the conversation, well, Alex, what happens at the end of my term? And it's over. Really? Yeah. Do you think you need insurance after that? Or they might even ask you, I had clients ask me that I closed tax-free retirement. Hey, someone told me about this program where you can get some tax-free money in it. And then I show them tax-free retirement, so I close them on that. Final questions. This is the post-sale process. Yeah, I'm getting bombarded here. This is the best training ever. Can I put agents in notes not to pull money? She says it's a dual price, so let's think about it for a bit. We have time. Okay. Oh, I put agent notes not to pull money out of the account. Actually, it's not an agent notes. Actually, as far as saying specifically when to pull out of account, at least with some of our carriers, you can put exactly the first draft date. But it's got to be within 30 days. That's the only stipulation. It's got to be within 30 days out. They can't just hold it for 2 months, but you can put it within 30 days. Okay, then you can delay the application, sending it in, so that there's things that you can do as an agent to control when they take that first draft out, if that's the thing. Okay, so you're a tax-free retirement, the post-sale process. This is the slide that I've been animate about to keep it in here. You don't got a sale until you know that the client feels good about what they're doing for their family at the price. So the post-sale process, okay, and this is called, number one, this is called push the check back. And we literally, back in the old days, we pushed the check back. So what I used to do is I tamp the application like this. Okay, and then I take the check they wrote and I would paper clip it onto a paper clip. Then I'd be dramatic about it. You know, I was an actor. I'm an actor, so I'd look at it. I take the check out, and what I do is I physically turn the check back towards him. I put it in front of Joe, the hero. Okay, and I would say, Joe, this $82 or this, what did I say, $75 a month represents your commitment to your family to take care of this for the next 30 years. Do you see any reason why you don't think you'd make good on this draft every month? Like Christmas time, you're going to have extra bills at Christmas, vacation time in July. Are you going to look at this draft and then you're going to call me and tell me that, hey, cancel it? And it could be 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. Any reason why you think you can't make good on that commitment? And I shut up. $75 a month. I emphasize $75 a month. All right? And I shut up. I let them sell me. I want them to sell me. There's like this long hesitation. They're kind of looking at each other. And again, when you're mirror matching, you can feel the sales tension. I promise you, I want you to rescue them. I want you to say, you know what? I think you're stretching a little bit, so let me do this for you. Let's revisit option one. And at $50 a month, I can get you covered. It'll do what you need it to do. You can still stay in the home. Mary, are you good with that? $50 a month? $50, like that's 25 more bucks less, and it'll get you covered. And what you'll see if you did the right thing is you'll see a sigh of relief. They want it, they need it, they just are rethinking the afford part, and they trust you and believe you. So why would they think that you're trying to hurt them by dropping it down? In fact, again, you don't care about your commission, you care about taking care of family. So you drop it down visibly. Or what will happen is he'll look at it, he'll push the check back, proverbially. I mean, we have the first draft, but you say it anyway, okay? And he'll push it back and say, we can do this. We got this. Okay, awesome. Because, man, what Mary said about what her situation is with the kids in school, and, you know, I think you're making the right decision. See, you validate that. It's like, great decision, Joe. That's what I did for my family, too. Okay? That's a setup statement for what I'm going to do next, which is killer. This is one of the best things I've ever done. Anyway. Do you feel good about taking the money? Okay, so you set that up, the post sell. You push the check back. The next thing is, I'll call in a couple days to answer any questions you might have. So you do the callback. You set up the callback. Number 2. The callback. Okay, back in the old days when they actually had refrigerators that you could put magnets on, yeah, because of stainless steel, you can't put magnets on anymore. But what I would do is I take my card, I stick it in a magnet. You know, I get rid of their last agent's card on the refrigerator. I put mine instead because they kept their last agent's card. Obviously, they didn't call him, so I put mine in the same place. And I promise you, back in the old days, I know you guys, you'd have cards and magnetic business cards on your refrigerators because that's where you put all your kids' pictures and stuff, right? Well, with the stupid stainless steel stuff, you can't. It's like hard to do that. So anyway, I give them my card. I say, Joe, Mary, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to call you back in 2 weeks. Here's my card. 2 days. Call you back in 2 days, and I want you to put together any questions you might have. And I'm going to call you back in 2 days to answer your questions. Is that cool? Okay, any questions you might have. Okay, and then you call them back. The whole idea of you saying this is because you are going to call them back. Hey, Joe, this is Alex again. Hey, man, I just want to see if you guys got any questions. Got any questions for me? Right? Why do you do this? You do this to answer questions, but you really do this to find buyer's remorse. You know what I'm saying? Because what buyer's remorse sounds like 2 days later is, Alex, you know what? Mary and I were talking last night, and we just, I don't know about this. Great. You know what? I was feeling the same thing when I left. I wasn't really totally sure. You know what? My last appointment's done around 9 o'clock. I'll be there about 9:15, 9:20. Let's just sit out and just kind of talk about it and, kind of revisit this. Is that okay to do? Let me come by. And they'll let you come by. They'll be happy to see you. Okay? I promise you. If you have a chance to save it, they'll let you save it. All right? Now, you do it 2 days later because you know what? 2 weeks later when you call them, hey, Joe and Mary, I got your policy to deliver. All right? I got your policy to deliver. Well, Alex, Mary and I made a decision. We're not going to go through with this right now. We just can't afford it. We can't blah, 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 blah. And you can't do anything about it because they solidified their decision. They made that decision the next day you left, and then they had 2 weeks to solidify it. It's like concrete. Concrete is now it's hard. They can't feel like they can go back, even as much as you try to sell them to sit down again. But you have 2 days because the concrete isn't dry yet. The concrete isn't dry. The pain is still reverberating. It's still, you have a chance. And that's called placement. You place your policy because you're willing to go over there and talk to them about it. Makes sense? So you do a 2-day callback. Here's the other thing you do. Number 3, it's all placement persistency, the post-sale. Number 3, you pre-deliver their policy. That's what does pre-deliver mean? Let me tell you what that means. It means that you pull out your policy out of your bag. Joe and Mary, would you like to see what your policy is going to look like? It's going to look like my policy. So here's what mine looks like. And what this appeals to is the touchy-feely person that needs to touch and feel something. And how do you know you have someone like that? They're going to ask you this question. They're going to say, Alex, are we going to get something in the mail? Because they forgot what you just said, right? Are we going to get like a document that says we have insurance? Are we going to? It's like, absolutely. And let me show you what it's going to look like. It's going to look similar to my policy that I show. Okay, this is now, Alex is doing the bubble cloud thing, the comic book bubble cloud in your head. I'm showing you, Joe and Mary, that I love my family just like I recommended how you should love your family. I'm showing you my policy. Okay, that's the bubble. You're not saying that. Joe and Mary, let me show you what I did for my family. I made the same decision as you because I cared about them. So I open up the policy, and what I do is I show them, this is the pre-deliver. You pre-deliver the policy. This is exactly what you're going to do when you get their policy. Okay, so you see the statement page, the statement of benefits page that has all the, what this is going to cover. See that here? Okay, this $150,000 that you purchased. See, mine is about $140,000. That's where that's going to show up. And see, your names are going to go right here where my name is. Okay, and I got this return of premium rider thing that gives me all my money back. You got the 50% one, so that's cool. Okay, and then you see this payment schedule. This is the payment, shows you that it's level premiums for the next 30 years. You have the option to renew down the road, so maybe that's something you may want to think about later. Again, planting a seed for an annual review in the future. Okay, then I show them, okay, any riders, I show them where the riders are. This explains the riders. Okay, and then I flip through to the end, which shows them this is your application. Okay. Yours is going to look like mine. Okay. Boom. What you did was you gave yourself credibility. Like a good cook eats his own cooking. That's why I trust a cook who's fat. I don't trust a cook that's not fat. I don't believe I just said that. Oh, I probably offended all the fat cooks out there. Or the skinny cooks, I'm sorry. I probably offended all the skinny cooks out there. Anyway, well, the vegan cooks. I wouldn't trust a fat vegan cook. Anyway, oh man, maybe I should cut this part out of the video. All right, so you show them yours. What else you got to do, baby? Okay, the next thing you got to do, part of the post-sale process, okay, is you actually call them back. The next thing, pre-deliver the policy, and then you set yourself up for annual reviews. So you tell the client, okay, every year I'm going to give you a call back. Oh yeah, I'm going to actually deliver the policy to you. So you actually deliver the policy. You pre-deliver it, then you tell them you're going to deliver the policy personally. Now, some of these policies will come to them directly. Now, Joe and Mary, they're going to send me the policy, and I'm going to set up a time to swing by. It only takes 5-10 minutes. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to show you everything in yours because, like I said, it's going to look like mine. But I'm going to show you everything about yours, all right? It will take about 5-10 minutes, and that'll be in the next week or two, should it be approved. Okay, otherwise I'm coming back and we'll find another company. But should it be approved, I'm coming back and I'm going to deliver it to you. Or they might actually send it directly to you, in which case I want you to call me so I can swing by and open it up for you. So as soon as you receive it, give me a call and I'll check in on you next week or two to see if you have received it, and then I'll come by, swing by. Is that cool? So I actually deliver the policy. Why? Because it increases your placement persistency by 10 to 20%. All right, why mess around with the process? It works, okay? It totally works. You actually deliver the policy. Deliver policy. And then number 5 is annual review. You tell them, I'm going to call you every year. I'm your man. I'm the one that'll take care of you. Anything you need, call me, but I'm going to check in every year. I'm going to see if there's any changes in your health, any changes in your kids, any changes in job, whatever. And then it's just for me to make sure that you know I'm still here, that I'm alive, and that I'm going to take care of you. All right, is that cool? Boom. Then the final slide. By the way, this is where you get to the final hatch because you lock down all the post-sale stuff. By the way, do you know someone in the area that might be interested in doing what I just did for you? Our hands are full right here. We got so many of these type of clients like yourself that need some help. And someone can make on a super part-time basis an extra $500 a week. Do you know anyone that you think might be a good person that you trust, that has integrity, and that you think is a good person? Bam! They might know their daughter, their son, a friend, neighbor, or themselves. And that's it, gang. You just rocked the house. It's done. The sales submarine is done. So, wow, it's like 1 o'clock. We're very close to what I said, although I did start early. Okay, there. So we did the bond and rapport, where you create trust and belief. Then you were allowed to move into the pain process, where you develop their pain, and they really know they need it now. You go to the upfront contract to make sure they want it tonight. Okay, then you do the fulfillment. Okay, and you fulfill their expectations and finding them a price they can afford. We write it up. We do the electronic application or the paper application. Then we get the ERS, RX, annuity, tax-free retirement. Boom. Then you go into the post sale. You push the check back. You tell them you're going to call them back, and you call them back. You pre-deliver the policy, then you really deliver it, and then you do annual reviews every year, and then you look to find someone who wants to do what we're doing. That's what the ATM will do for you. You'll make a lot of money doing the way that we're teaching, but you got to practice and get skilled at it. Don't give up on the fact that it takes skill, because any professional thing that you make a lot of money at will take skill. So let me see if I can answer anybody's question. Oh, I got an amen from John Rayborn. Amen. And then Hillary loves me. Nose, hair, and body Jesus. Okay, someone loves me. I confirm total income, not take-home income. Absolutely. Total income. Daryl Elkins. The right training. All right, man. I think so. Versus the left training. Susie says, so at a funeral, is it bad that I'm trying to recruit? And is it bad that I asked the lady to go out to her car before the services start and get a resume? And she did. Woo! Funerals are the best place to recruit. Because there's one person you can't recruit. It's the person in the casket. Oh, Susie, I love you. You rock. Marilyn. Yes, Marilyn. She did the feature selling. Feature selling. Don't do feature selling because you sound like every other slimy agent out there. Good stuff, Alex. Best training ever. Are you kidding me, Hillary? In caps. The best training ever. Oh, you honor me. Floyd. I'm killing it. I hope I am. I want to help you guys so much. Great job training. So informative. I hope you're able to send this out. Yeah, I hope this video came out. At least the MP3 will. Also put this on your training site. Absolutely will do, Cord. Dave Foster, awesome training coach. You're welcome. Justin Margison. I think I answered your question there. Amazing training. Thank you so much. Exactly what I needed. 0 for 8 on appointments last week. This helped me pinpoint what I'm doing wrong. Oh my gosh. Annette Ramey, this is awesome. Exactly, gang. What this does, this process does for you, is it will allow you to self-evaluate where it blew up. Like right now, I know you're thinking about all those situations that you didn't do some of the stuff that it blew up in your face. And most of it is the bonded rapport and the pain. That's where most of it comes from. And then, the upfront contract, not screening out all the possible objections they might have. Absolutely. This does better coaching. You'll self-coach. You'll tell me what went wrong. I'll ask you, so tell me, where did it go wrong? Alex, the bonded rapport, I'm just like, trying to get better at it, but why? Well, how did that manifest itself? Well, when I got to, this part, they just didn't I didn't feel it. They didn't feel like they trusted me. Or you're going to get all kinds of things, but you'll know where it is. And then when you're talking to me, we have a common language now. It's like, where did it blow up? And you'll tell me, I don't think I did the upfront contract well enough. So tell me, how did it sound? What did they say? Okay, you'll tell me, the pain, I'm just still not good there. So describe how you ask the pain questions. And typically, here's what I promise you, I'll probably tell you, it's like, you didn't ask 2 extra questions. I promise you, asked 2 extra questions, you would have found it. You would have drilled it. You would have made it feel real to them, right? But you're right, Justin. This will exactly tell you where it went wrong, where it went south, all right? So gang, this is something you can do, and this is something you got to practice, okay? I was not good at this when I first started the system, but I got better and better. And even now, I mean, I'm telling you, I'm a big believer. And my coaching, if some of you can tell, has been very specific, very straight to the point, very helpful, I think. Coaching you through this, because it always comes down to the same thing. You didn't do the pain process well enough. You didn't get commitment from them, the upfront contract. You didn't screen out the objection that you ended up getting. It's typically that kind of stuff. All right, gang, we are done. I know some of you may not have my email to text anything. It's time for Banff, baby. Woo! All right, rock on, man. All right, gang, I'm done. Thanks for hanging in there with me. It's just a little bit after 1, so God bless you all. Man, I want your success. Let's do this thing. Woo! Rock on.